Forever. Dog.
It's PTR Oscar night, and down on the red carpet, all the irrelevant stars are waiting to be referenced. There's Dom DeLuise, Bruce Valanche, Sloppy Telly, Ed 209, TV's Quark Armin Shimmerman, a frightened 22-year-old dressed as Snow White, and there's the man of the hour, Ryan Perez, who joins the boys for the first ever Oscar special on Podcast The Ride.
It's a wonderful night for podcasts. Let's begin. The three hosts of Podcast The Ride are me, Scott Gardner, Jason Sheridan.
I was driving over and I was like, is anyone going to do It's a Wonderful Night for Podcast? Should I do it? And so I was so happy.
I wouldn't mind if you did it.
You can still do it if you want.
No, that's fine. No,
I
don't want to take the glory.
Well, you can make it a wonderful night to introduce Mike Carlson.
It's a wonderful night for Michael.
Michael.
Here he is.
What will he say?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm here. It is a wonderful night for me, but it's really a wonderful night for the movies.
That's right.
Really?
Yes. Well, is it? Are we even going to talk about a single movie?
Oh, yeah, I don't get it right. You're right.
Over the course, like technically,
You're right.
I think what we're going to talk about is a lot of horrendous song and dance numbers from the late 70s to
stuff that
early 90s.
Stuff that would have been staged at like a regional theme park and maybe isn't even good enough for that venue.
Yeah, no, I think it's. I mean, regional. You're putting a certain spin on it, but like, there's a lot of things that we're going to talk about tonight that are not as good as a lot of theme park shit. Like, what a diss that is to the Waterworld.
Yeah,
Waterworld
was
Spectacular.
amazing.
Yeah. Compared to some of what we'll get, although some of what we have, I think, is wonderful. Basically, what we're doing. So this coming Sunday, as this episode is released, is the Academy Awards. It's Hollywood's biggest night, but right now it is North Hollywood's biggest night because live to tape from the Forever Dog Pavilion, it's the first ever Podcast The Ride Oscar special. Thrilled about this, and I think a lot of what we're going to do here, really, it's going to be about looking at Academy Awards broadcasts over the years and trying to find the most bizarre and kitschy, gaudy, baudy
maybe,
moments, and most importantly, the most theme parky moments, I would say, in the history of the Oscars. And there are a lot. And we're joined by the perfect guest for this occasion, a wonderful writer, a film lover, and a good friend who has not been on Podcast The Ride since the first few months of the show. From his podcast with Ann Riemann, Mama Needs a Movie, it's Ryan Perez.
It's a wonderful night for guesting on a podcast. What will I say?
What will he say?
Doesn't it
Bravo.
feel good to get to feel like Billy?
I get why he did the show, why he kicked the show off that way. It is a good way to start the show.
It's a big rousing.
Yes.
It's kind of like like a college fight song. It builds you up.
Yeah, I should do it in the morning before I go out.
Do we think, will he ever get to do it again?
Ooh, interesting.
Do you think we heard the last one of these?
But I'll ask you this: why would he not do it again?
No, I think he would. I'm just saying, will it happen?
Oh, yes. Do I think he will do it?
I think he'd fill in right now if they called him.
Sure.
I think he's waiting for the call. Like Kimmel has COVID again or something, and he's like, "Come on."
Well, it's his baby, like Leno in the Tonight Show. He's ready to pounce on it.
He's hiding in a closet.
But I think if anything, he has such respect for the office, for the position.
Yes.
I think genuinely he did say, like, I don't know if it's my year. I don't know if I've got it. Like, whereas somebody else would just blindly say, yeah, sure, whenever. I think he really thinks, do I have something to say this year?
I think he also avoids years like he did it. He had that streak in the early 90s where he did it. And then the Schindler's List year, he was like, I'm not going to do. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he had already had his fill or whatever, but like he purposefully sat out a year where I think it would have been tough to be super, super funny or upbeat or whatever.
The Schindler's List song would have been the most difficult job of his life.
He probably tried to crack it though, and couldn't do it.
He probably thought about that, and then he was like, "I'll give it to Whoopi."
There's drafts of a song he was trying to work out, and they were horrendous.
Yes, there were some Valanche. I'm sure he got bruised.
Remember Valanche at the Hotel Roosevelt, just like a pad and a paper. Or and a pen, just like, what do you think?
It's the one. It's gonna break me. It's the one I can't do.
I think he will do it one more time.
Okay.
I could.
I hope so.
Yeah, I could see them, in a weird hostless year being like, well, Billy's open to it and he's getting up there, you know, and one more time for nostalgia.
Yeah. Was 2012 the last time he did it? The most recent time?
Oh,
he
I don't
says,
know the year.
like, I've hosted it 9 times. I watched the 2012
I think so.
moment, and even some of that was like, oh, I don't know if he'd make that joke now. Like, there was like a joke about Jonah Hill, like, dropping some weight, and it cuts to the Moneyball, like, people, and you just see he is really not happy. And fair enough, because it was kind of mean-spirited. It didn't really have like
lay off the donuts next time.
Yeah, and then he's tossing a softball. He's just going out to Scorsese, and he's like, "Oh, Marty." But that was funny because there was just like an uninterested. I'm assuming Scorsese's daughter sitting next to him, and she was an uninterested preteen. And I'm like, wait a minute, the math. Is that the one that does the TikToks with him in it now?
Oh, yeah.
Is that
probably?
I think so. Yeah.
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 Oh, I haven't been keeping up with the Crystal TikTok content. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry, not Crystal. Scorsese or something.
Scorsese's
Oh right, this
daughter.
I've heard about. Okay, gotcha.
We'll do post TikToks, and occasionally she'll get him to be in one.
She'll like wrap his Christmas gifts in Marvel paper.
Yes.
Like Marvel Comics.
Yeah, she'll get his ass. And as usual, Marty, great sport about it.
Sure.
Yeah. He acknowledges it as some new kind of form. It's like I got to help
audiovisual entertainment.
Audiovisual entertainment is content, but he's probably on some level appreciates it that she's a burgeoning little filmmaker, TikTok filmmaker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I don't think so. I think he probably hates it, and I'm gonna cancel him on Twitter next chance I get. Nothing I love more than holding him to the fire. Every 3 months when that comes around, we're all being mean to Marty today.
Since you mentioned Twitter, I have been wondering. I have been thinking about the Billy Crystal like song and dance openings a little bit lately because recently there was the thing that took on a life of its own, the Ariana DeBose number at the BAFTAs. And I watched it a couple times, and I talked to Jane about it. I'm like, what are people talking? What is the issue? Is this because she's out of breath? It's because she kind of delivered one of the lines, and she's like, I think, it just kind of caught fire. Like, it's just getting roasted on the internet. But you can see the when it cuts to people like the older people in the like Jamie Lee Curtis is like, she gets it. Mm-hmm. Michelle Yeoh gets it. But like the younger people are just like, what the hell is this? Like they don't have the context of Oscar.
What does she do? I haven't actually watched it. I'm aware that it's been roasted a little bit, but what's she doing in it?
I mean, the thing that really caught on was she said, was it Angela Bassett did the thing?
Angela Bassett did the thing.
Yeah.
And like really, truly just that one line, slightly breathless, saying, Angela Bassett did the thing is now, we're obsessed with this. Everyone in the world is obsessed with this really embarrassing moment. This, oh my God, what an embarrassing moment. You look at it, you're like, what? Like, especially if you're looking at things in the context, like I've been looking at a few musical numbers, Oscar numbers in the context of preparing for this show. And I'm like, this is, there are 9,000 moments like this in every single Oscars opening number ever.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, skin crawling. There are moments. I've talked about this before on the show. This comes up in theme park shows a lot. But where if I am really mortified by something that the hairs stand up on my arm. I get goosebumps. I get embarrassment goosebumps. Especially the main thing I get it from is cheesiness in musical numbers.
Yeah.
And it will happen in the next couple hours.
Oh, yeah.
Guaranteed. I guess so. Maybe that's I should watch this thing and see if it gives me. If it makes the hairs on my arm do anything.
I mean, it's a little corny, but I feel like award shows have always been a little corny, you know? And so I think what the reality is, like, well, the thing to blame here is they probably rehearsed this once, maybe twice, and they didn't clock, like, this was an elaborate dance number, this is an elaborate costume to get off, to then run across the stage and then start rapping. It was probably like, oh, I don't think the stage manager thought this through.
Sure. And just like, if anybody is complaining about this, like, maybe I just assume anyone complaining about it has not seen Kevin Spacey at the Weird Sports Awards.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah.
the laureates. I mean, if you're missing basketball shots and offending Tony Hawk,
Yes.
There's no way whatever you're describing is worse.
Well, also, yeah, Ariana DeBose like did the Tonys, I think, last year, and was fantastic. Like this is a very extremely capable
musical theater
performer, and given the task of like a bad song, like a bad song, what's new? Like they're all bad. There's never been a good musical number lyrics wise in an award show.
yeah, which we will prove this evening as we do this for sure. Ryan, in terms of your Oscar experience, I don't want to put the term Oscar fan on you.
Oh, please don't.
That doesn't seem right. So I wanted to poke around what would be better than that. I don't know. I mean, it seems like you. I feel like you have like been fascinated by or engaged with the Oscars at least forever. I don't know how you want to like calibrate your any Oscar affection or otherwise.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I think I mean as a byproduct of really loving movies, you're always interested in the Oscars. I mean, if you like movies, you at least when you're young, you have a curiosity about them. I think even as a young person, I learned very early that the Oscars don't really have a ton to do with movies.
Sure.
Like it's not like your favorite ones are winning Oscars or whatever. So that whole like the competitive element of the Oscars, I became disenchanted with like very young. But I watch them every year and watch them kind of closely every year because I think they're unfailingly. It's almost like the State of the Union or something. They're almost like a bellwether of the climate of the industry and the political climate at the time and everything. And it's like it's also like a weird game show where people are winning an award and have to like pitch themselves and the rest of their careers at you over the course of a minute or two. And so it's just a fascinating, really high pressure event to watch in terms, and also just the spectacle and everything too. But I think they're like, I like the Oscars in particular, and award shows, you know, I've never been to one. I don't really care to ever go to one, but just to watch them is tremendous fun. And you can't take it on the surface. I think people watch them and they say, well, that Oscars was not entertaining, but if you watch on a surface level, they aren't entertaining. The Oscars do suck pretty much all the time, but you have to be able to read them. If you're able to read them and read what's like going on, they're very fascinating. You know.
Oh, sure. It's just like one part of the text is the ceremony itself.
Yeah,
but everything else happening.
That's why the slap is like the most interesting thing, because it's like whoa, like real hostility that maybe you could have guessed or sensed or whatever, so suddenly broke through. And it became like a real thing, you know.
Well, and you had to fill in the backstory. Like, not all of the information was there on the stage.
Yeah.
Because when it happened, it was like that joke caused that. We all had to learn that I assume I had to learn that she had alopecia. I don't track every move of Jada Pinkett Smith, and I don't think Chris Rock does either. So like, okay, and he made some jokes she was offended by years prior. Okay.
Yeah.
And Will Smith is out of his goddamn mind. Okay, that's also important.
Well, the legitimacy of the moment was in question too. There was a big debate raging of was it real or not.
I had that thought. I definitely had that thought.
Yeah.
we were all watching it.
The
and
four of us were all together.
Yeah.
We all processed the slap.
Jane, I feel like, called it as real immediately. Mike, you also did.
I was a real truther the whole time.
And I was on the fence.
I watch fake combat sports regularly.
Well, that's what. Yeah, we were trying to figure out if it was kayfabe, but then the sound got real fucked up. Like that,
Yeah.
when the sound got fucked up, I feel like that's when I.
Yeah,
was
that
like,
muddied
yeah.
the entire. The slap itself, I feel like, still could have felt like a bit potentially, especially if you didn't hear the sound of it, which was like very raw and clearly injured him. But then once it cut to that shot, once it cut to the screaming, was where this would not be happening in a bit. I don't think.
It would have been more fun after that.
Yeah.
If it was a bit, it would have
Yeah.
been like a fun thing at the
Yeah.
end there.
Yeah.
Because I'm an envelope truther. I think I.
I thought
right.
this would come up. Yeah,
I think that and no one has told me that I have no actual foundational belief in this, but I do believe that Kimmel, known for his pranks occasionally, staged some kind of prank or whatever with producers, probably did arrange something that went awry and the response was bad and they've not really admitted to it. That's okay. I don't have and no one I have no reason to believe this just beyond my own thinking of it. So I was already in the mindset of they're
Right.
going to try it again. What if is this Will Smith thing another envelope thing, which is fake in my mind?
Do you have a full theory that they sent Warren Beatty out there with the wrong envelope and just hung him out to dry?
I think Warren Beatty's probably in on it.
Oh, yeah,
And I
okay.
think there's probably a very small handful of people that are in. If this is,
Right.
I'm
I'm just
fully
wondering what your theory is.
I base it just on the idea that I've watched 20 years or more than that worth of Oscars. This has never happened. There's never been a
Yeah.
envelope mix-up in the entire history of the awards, and it happens to happen during Best Picture on a year when semi-prankster Jimmy Kimmel is hosting. It's like. And everyone's like, and the only reason it's not come out is because the initial response was not positive. If the initial response was, "Wow, that was super fun," but the initial response was, "No, Moonlight, an important American film, was robbed its chance. It's proper chance."
Those are bad optics for sure. Yeah, and
Yeah.
if kind of the more bubblegum movie, like they're sort of different films, so you can't so similar to making songs in the Schindler's List here. It's kind of weird.
Yes, but I think that was the reason was this movie should have had its own moment, and instead the Moonlight people had to share the stage. Oh my God, I think it backfired. I think it was a prank that backfired.
Interesting.
This is some conspiracy stuff I'm spreading on your show.
This is like Alex Jones stuff.
Hey, come on, guys. If you really, what are the chances that the envelope could make it out to the stage? Ah!
Thank you for presenting your theories. What other questions did I have for you about this? In terms of your when you growing up and watching the Oscars, was there one that you recall as being that you where you kind of came to this one where I like watching this? It feels like your initial idea of what a classic Oscar telecast is.
Yeah, truly the best Oscars and the best awards show I've ever seen. Period is Billy Crystal in 1992. So this would have been for the movies of 91, and this is the year that he came out as Hannibal Lecter.
Yes,
and he did a medley. It was the second time he'd done the medley, but he did it. It was just a fun medley. It was the Jack Palance push-ups, and it was the best joke. And they've since recounted this. Him and Valanche and people have recounted this enough to where I don't like it anymore. But at the time, it was very funny where Hal Roach gets up, and he introduces Hal Roach, who's the great silent film director. And Hal Roach gives a speech where he gives it off mic, so the whole thing's like, "Oh, thank you, everybody, thank you." And then Billy Crystal's response is that was appropriate since Hal began his career in silent film. And that brings us. And so when I saw that as a kid, I was like, wow, this is it was a genuinely entertaining show. I mean, I know everybody has conflicted thoughts about Billy Crystal now, but he hosted that and when Ellen DeGeneres hosted the first Emmys after 9/11. were like genuinely really great hosting jobs.
Huh.
Like I can point to it's that, and maybe like when John Waters, there's been like when John Waters did the Independent Spirit Awards. Like there's a handful
those
of
are
like
good.
hosting jobs where you're like, whoa, those were really good. But that one was like a really good show, 92. And
That's exactly my answer too,
yeah.
and especially, and I was of the right age and being like a Disney kid, as we all were. That's the year of Beauty and the Beast, so it's all those songs. So they're big songs, which has like almost immediately stopped being the case. Like I can't remember when a popular song won or was even in competition.
Oh, yeah.
for it. They're all like weird. It's almost sometimes it's almost like they don't do the category. But that year it's like huge songs, Silence of the Lambs, huge. Every movie is huge.
Did something from Beauty and the Beast win Best Song?
I think Beauty and the
Beauty and
Beast.
the Beast.
Yeah,
Beast.
but it was 3 of the 5 were from Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
It was always, and then like the Disney ones won. I feel like the Disney ballads,
Yes, which always
One
upset me as a
typically.
kid.
because you like the more
'Cause
fun
ones.
ones.
I wanted Under the Sea to win. I wanted Be Our
Yes.
Guest to win.
Yeah.
And I was
Did
like,
it
what
Under the Sea win?
It may have won.
I think it might have.
But
It's
from
not-
then
not-
on, it was
Kiss
always
the Girl wasn't enough of a. Wait,
Yeah.
no, or was it? Or did Part of Your World? I don't know.
But like
Don't remember.
Hakuna Matata didn't win. It
Hakuna
was
Matata did
No,
not
no.
win.
Circle of Life, probably.
Or Can You Feel the Love Tonight?
Can't
Jason, look
Feel
it
the
up.
Love Tonight.
That's
what it was. Can't
I'm
Feel
looking
the
up Little Mermaid. I can only do one at a time.
You know what's a funny one is that Colors of the Wind won over You've Got a Friend in Me. The Randy Newman ones are really spotty.
Oh, interesting.
Where it's like
Yeah,
less
yeah.
popular Randy Newman ones won. But in looking at, in general, looking at clips of the last 20, 25 years, I think Randy Newman has performed every year since. You always have.
Did like Randy Newman win for like Michael or something?
Yeah, probably. Oh, here, Jordan's got it. That's
Oh,
Under the
okay.
Sea winning.
Okay,
with,
Under the Sea did
with
win.
Dudley Moore and
Wow,
Paula
look at-
Abdul
Yeah.
Look at that.
presenting.
Wow.
What a pair.
Original score and original song.
Okay.
Little Mermaid.
So
or-
it got
okay.
2.
Mhm.
Yeah. But I think, the ballads from then on were
Kiss the
winning.
Girl was nominated.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's a fun one.
Kiss-
You get fun ones.
Kiss the Girl. Morgan Freeman's Kiss the Girls. That should have been nominated. The original Alex Cross adventure.
One of the great
Before
great
Tyler
snubs.
Perry took over the role.
Is that what that is? Really?
Tyler Perry
That's
played
Kiss the
Alex-
Girls, the same thing.
it's
as,
the same
Kiss the
book
Girl,
series,
Long Came
yeah.
a Spider.
Oh.
And Alex
Alex
Cross.
Cross,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh wow! I
Yeah.
didn't know that. Okay, so in terms of, let's just start diving in here, and I'm excited to have you for this, Ryan, also because I feel like you are a cinephile. You're a fan of high art. And we tend to gravitate to the lowest
The
of
gutter.
low. Well, yeah, we tend to,
A
live in the
waterless
gutter.
toilet full of art.
I like the toilet. I like it all.
Ryan likes the toilet.
But that's where
Come
I
on.
think these things I think really square off on the Oscar stage, and especially we're gonna be so 80s centric
Yeah.
here. I feel, and I'm gonna start there with one. I couldn't not do this one, and this might already answer the question: what's the most theme parky thing that ever happened on the Oscars? And for this, I go to 1988. Jordan, I believe the file is Pee-wee 1. Do you guys know this offhand? Can you picture Pee-wee Herman's Oscar appearance?
I think I've seen this. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this is like, I mean, this is like designed to get 5-year-olds in and watching it for the rest of their lives. It's so crazy. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Here, stop it for a sec, Jordan. The context here is that Pee-wee Herman is presenting an award, but a PA has come on stage and whispered in his ear that there is a giant robot that is making his way to the theater. And he says, "Yeah, I'm so sure," and then goes about his business, and then this happens.
Our first nominee.
Give me my Oscar, or I'll tear your head off your body.
It's Ed 209 for the listeners.
What Oscar?
I want my Oscar. I'll give you 10 seconds to comply.
10 seconds.
9,
Can we discuss this?
7,
Oh my God! Help! Where's Robocop?
4,
You can never find a Robocop when you need one. Oh my God!
Oh!
Ed 209 is now shooting, and Pee-wee is flying up into the rafters. Pee-wee can fly. is what we're learning.
And 209 is, by the way, open fire on the audience of the Oscars.
Yeah, he's pointed more at them than at Pee-wee.
Yeah.
And either way, he's hitting people in the balcony.
Wow.
Yeah, no, this is a mass shooting.
Yeah.
This is more deadly of an event than in RoboCop,
Right.
in the conference room. Massive body count.
The choice to make him fly in that is the fun. I mean,
Yeah,
I like
what do you
honestly,
mean?
I like everything that happens.
I think that's a great. That's if I saw that today, I would eat my shorts. That's a terrific little bit.
It's really fun. That's just fun
That's just
for all
good.
ages. It's just good. If you want to see a little of the aftermath, Pee-wee 2, Jordan, just to see it in reverse, RoboCop does appear. You'll be happy to know. And I skip most of the extremely analog old TV mixer laser fight that occurs. It's the wimpiest laser beams you've ever seen, but it really goes and goes. And then, do we have the clip? Let's watch this. It's a laser that using a Johnny Carson sketch.
Thanks, Robocop.
All right, Pee-wee. It's safe to continue giving the award now.
Thanks, Robocop.
Silence.
RoboCop just in the aisle.
Yeah, doesn't know his exit. Pee-wee just lowers slowly.
He should have been
Pee-wee
sitting
can
somewhere.
Yeah. It was cool of Peter Weller to reprise his role, though, for the little appearance.
I mean,
That's good. I mean, John Wick should interrupt the Oscars or something.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
that'd be
they should
awesome.
do stuff like
Yeah.
that. You
Yeah.
know what? We're also concerned, like, as if nominating the right movie is gonna get everybody excited. Like, and then it's not gonna win. You know, like, what's the Top Gun Maverick nomination actually gonna do in terms of like, oh, there's movies people like it. That what they need is Maverick crash landing in the theater, mini like drone controlled
When
planes
I was a
racing
kid,
through.
I never thought like why isn't Batman nominated for Best Picture? Like you it's nominated for like visual effects or something, and then that's when you see Batman. Like that, there is a time and place in the ceremony, as that was for for RoboCop to show up.
And they would make a point. I don't know that they do that kind of thing anymore.
They should have Maverick crash land in the theater, and then Tom Hanks's Colonel Tom Parker should try to you put on a hell of a show, and he should try to do all 10 accents he does as one character.
I did not kill everybody. It is not true.
Sing it is Santa Claus. Sing.
This is not. Why are they giving away golden statues? They have not sung Santa Claus.
My pitch for a movie actually is Tar versus Colonel Tom Parker. Maybe they could do that at the show though. It's like start with, like she's like conducting, like open on her conducting, and then Colonel Tom comes out and says, "No, she will not. Tar will not conduct Santa Claus. You sing rocking around Christmas tree." That is what you do.
He picks up the same baton. For him, it goes limp, and then he tries to. I will do it myself, and then all the tubas. Wah, wah, wah. I love. They should you know what? Well, it's clear what they have to do. They got to get Bruce. There's only one way out of the mess. When you think about when did the Oscars start going off the cliff? I don't know exactly when he stopped working on them, but I can only he hasn't been doing it since the early 2000s.
Does he have a credit
probably?
on a recent? This is
We've
this is a
looked
good
this
question.
up, I think,
and
it feels like he hasn't. But maybe again, Jason, you have to look this up.
When did Bruce stop?
Yeah.
I know that because I read an oral history of
Get
it recently.
Bruce's information.
Let's get him down here right now.
We should get him on here.
If you don't know, also Bruce, we should probably contextualize Bruce Valanche, the kind of.
I don't think your audience needs a context.
Yeah, okay, fine.
He comes up every 3 episodes anyway.
Yeah.
I just said it. Maybe I said it for the first time that Ryan and I have seen Mr. Valanche perform live as the Widow Twanky.
Yes, yeah,
That's true. That's true. Mike and I had a special day many years ago at Aladdin Live.
Do you remember what happened at the brunch before? What news you received on your phone?
Yes, it was a Sunday morning that we saw Aladdin's Winter Wish, and right before we went in, I remember I looked at my phone and Peter O'Toole had just died.
It wasn't just a text that said he is risen.
No.
Since Sunday morning. Okay.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't that.
Well, and
Yeah.
if we're addressing tales of this nature, I think I've told you, Ryan, the tale of you meeting Wallace Shawn has been
That's
told on the
also- I've
show
told that story
more
a
times
lot.
than I could possibly count. This
sure.
has been you've been a presence in the show ever since 5 years ago when you did it by
this
this
is a
story
rare-
being told over and over. I think it's where Five Timers came from.
A lot of-
Five Timers for us, Ryan, are not people who've been on the
Five
show
Times
five times.
stories,
It's
yeah.
stories that have
Yes.
been told
A lot
upwards
of-
of 5 times.
A lot of times when I'm saying something, I'm like, oh, this is one of the things that makes Scott mad. Like if I bring up Brian Setzer, if I bring up Green Day or something, I know for sure, like I'm in the middle of it, but I'm like, well, I'm telling about blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I wandered right into retelling the Wallace Shawn Andre Gregory story, and he was like, you've told this before, and I went, what? I thought it was just, like I had no idea I had told it this many times. So it's just something I say.
I also because some of these things are also told in our day-to-day life. Some
Sure.
of them,
sure.
It might not be 5 timers on the show, but I have heard them in person so many times. As with
I had
Bozo the
such a
Clown.
good time seeing you go up to them and talk to them,
Yeah.
and then the whole experience. It was
And then
Andre Gregory's birthday.
It was his birthday. We all sang happy birthday.
We all sang. You thought about getting a piece of cake, but I think you decided not to,
Oh,
which would have
okay.
probably been fine.
We all should have
honestly.
gotten cake.
It was like a group of 20 people. We were just like standing there to say hello to them or something,
Yeah.
and we realized we were in the middle of a birthday celebration for Andre Gregory.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it was.
amazing.
Yeah, that would have been a good. I don't know why we didn't do that.
I know. I feel I'm a little regretful of it.
I liked that piece of it where a detail that was important to you, Mike, and that you've told every time it's been told. Ryan thought about getting a piece of cake and then didn't, or something that didn't register with Ryan himself.
Well, he.
And then here's what makes it a great story.
But, yeah, but it does make it a great story, though. It does really. The idea that I thought about eating cake and didn't really kicks it up a notch.
I think it does.
Well, I guess it indicates your respect
think
for
it-
these
yeah.
men, such that you would
You
not
would. Yes, you don't want to
want
disrespect
impose.
them.
Wait, so what do you find? What is the best part of the story to you? It was how excited I was.
Well, I think I like it was that we were
well,
in
first of
such
all,
a-
it's Wallace Shawn being part of it at
I
all.
love Wallace
because
Shawn.
another
Yeah,
thing that's
yeah,
happened on the show, you have argued to no one about. I've watched you go like, and if you don't think Wallace Shawn is great, then fuck you. Like you've argued to an invisible party about like.
I think I have.
You want to tell me Wallace Shawn isn't great in Haunted Mansion? He's always great.
Well, I was yelling at Jason in that.
Yeah. I've read a few of during lockdown. I read a few Wallace Shawn books, so I started to appreciate Mike's stories a little more. It's kind of on a different level, especially that play.
This
that
is what
you
you'd
all
say
saw.
about a grandparent. Now I have the context to know that they've lived in
He's a
it.
wonderful- wonderful
I shouldn't roll my
essayist.
eyes at his stories.
I used to think
Yeah.
Grandpop's stories were boring and bland, but then I realized the wisdom he was trying to impart. I'll take it, honestly.
I'll answer the. I jumped on the what makes it. What is the crucial part of the story for you?
Well, okay, there's I don't want to rehash the whole thing because there's so much stuff I loved about that situation, including that Armin Shimmerman was sitting behind us, who played Quark on Deep Space Nine.
that part makes
and
it
I
come up a
peed
lot.
next to him, and then at the middle of this again. This is I've said this on the show before, but in the middle at intermission, Armin stood up and he goes, "Huh, I thought it was over." Well, I guess we'll just see what happens next. Which is so funny.
I forgot how a play works.
He forgot how to play. He clearly was done. It was a long first half.
Yeah,
Quark doesn't know how plays work. Mike pees with Quark.
I peed with Quark, which is
There's
so
Quark.
fun.
Hey,
I
there
love
he
him.
is.
He's one of the best characters. He's great. All of that was fun. It was fun seeing it in a small theater. And then we were just ended up in this little like celebration, and I was just delighted by the whole situation.
It was a
delighted
good.
by it.
I haven't been back to the Red Cat in COVID times, but that at that same theater, I don't think it was this performance. It was a different performance. I saw Philip Baker Hall.
Oh, yeah.
And he was on oxygen, and he died not that long ago, but I also saw him there attending a play once and said hello to him. He was very gracious as
You
well.
got to say hi to him before he.
Yeah,
wow,
that's cool.
wow.
Yeah, that's a little secret. I think that's kind of if you want to see like really great actors, go see plays at the Red Cat. You'll see
Because a very small theater.
it's a small theater, but they do like plays by the Worcester Group, and like it's like you'll see sometimes stars on stage, but a lot of times respected actors in the audience watching. I feel
Right.
like,
Wow.
you know.
Where's the Red? What city is Red Cat in?
It's like downtown. It's by the Disney Concert Hall. It's like
Okay.
It's connected to that big structure.
Oh, gotcha.
And then maybe you'll get to eat cake or think about eating cake with one of the actors.
If you're lucky, you will get to consider cake. You
yeah.
get to look at cake.
And then I think you came back and said Andre Gregory was telling somebody, like, you must come up to the cabin sometime.
That's a good quote. That's a good quote.
Yeah.
And I think you did a good impression, a much better.
Sometime.
You did a very good impression of him, is my memory as well. Anyway.
Okay.
Let me throw this out into what we were talking about before that sidetrack. The Ryan, what you said about like you knew that the silly stuff would happen in the effects categories. This isn't the funniest clip in the world, but I wonder if you'll remember it. This to me is the epitome of what you're talking about. That like with those ones that they feel technical, but it's about the big movies that everybody likes, and we have a little fun with these. Can we show the clip Elijah? Does anyone remember this?
I don't think I know this.
May I have the envelope?
Young Elijah Wood.
Oh, wow.
What's that sound? Oh! It's a T-Rex poking out from...
That's a big build.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You can kind of feel the flatness. I think this, a facade style. They only did one side of it. But it's huge.
Yeah.
You got the context when little Elijah Wood walked
That's
up.
little Anna Paquin there.
Little Anna Paquin, who won, might have won that. No, well, that award was going to Jurassic Park. But Anna
Did
Paquin
win
won
that year, won for the piano.
Yeah.
Wow.
Big year for kids.
Big year for kids.
Big year for kids.
That's fun. That's Elijah. Let's see. He would have been coming off The Good Son, probably. With old Mac.
I think I was surprised that wasn't Mac. I assume Mac had his Oscar. He must have done. I'm sure Mac had an Oscar moment at some point. Jason, do you have I feel like you got a list brewing or something. Do you want to throw in something?
I had a few. If you have, do you want to jump to 98?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's
we
jump
got
to
no order here.
1998. This is. I looked this up. This was the year the most viewers, like the highest rated. So 50 million people tuned in because
this is the Titanic?
Yeah, this is Titanic here. And I think one thing I think about the Oscars, you mentioned the State of the Union, Ryan. This time of year, it's like State of the Union, Super Bowl, Oscars, and like I feel like I just always kind of related that of like these are live events. Everyone's gonna watch these sorts of things.
All equally exciting.
All equally exciting. Well, look, the Oscars was most exciting to me, but when it comes down to viewers, the Super Bowl in 98 had 90 million viewers, and the Oscars had 50 million. And so I think that used to be the norm, a little bit like 50%. And
now it's like negative 12
now it's
million.
the Super Bowl has held steady and gone up to like 110, 120 million a few times. And the Oscars last year, I think, was 16 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
It's grimmer and grimmer. I mean,
Yeah.
I was with, Ryan, we watched the train station Oscars
We watched
together.
the train, which turned out to be a train wreck Oscars.
Not because of the movie either. That wasn't that year. No, that was the most then you hear the numbers and you're like, of course no one watched. Why would anyone?
I think it's hard to come back. Honestly, after Union Station, it's hard to come back. You can't keep them. You can't get them back on the farm after you've been to Union Station with the Glenn Close twerking, and that was the fun part.
That was the
Sure.
only bit of fun.
Yeah.
That was like the slice of cake they considered having.
Yeah.
As good as it got. But better times, 98.
Jordan, if you can pull up the first clip. So just to set everyone up, Billy Crystal comes out on a big Titanic. He's like up by the
Yeah.
ceiling.
Of course.
And then the ship sinks, but while sinking, it gently lowers him to the stage. So it kind of serves two purposes. And there's just like two song moments in this that really stuck out to me. I think the Oscars too were a good demonstration of like when the culture was much more of like a monoculture with like, here's the reference point, and everyone in the crowd knows what they're referencing.
Sure. Oddly, not the only thing that's gotten us back to that is the slap.
Yeah,
finally,
it is.
the thing at the Oscars
Finally,
was the only thing everyone was talking about.
Yeah.
But back then,
The 5 films nominated for Best Picture are Just right back to a fairy tale, the tale of a giant ship that started many years ago with an over-budget script.
20-year-old
The boss was a
show.
loud director man who made accountants sick. 2 studios teamed up to pay for a 3-hour flick. Everybody, a 3-hour flick.
That's good. Like,
It's
what
made
else?
$1
That's
billion
so clean.
People
Good.
like it,
Yes.
yeah. And then
Some other films deserve a break, like My Giant in 3 weeks. My Giant in 3 weeks.
Oh,
But Titanic
make some
is
room
the
for My
story.
Giant.
I've got to tip my hat to Gilligan, the skipper too.
that's Jimmy
The
Cameron.
propeller
Yeah.
guy and the the movie star, the professor and Marianne. Here on Oscar's Big Night.
Going well, Terrence.
So like that, it is clean. It's very
Yeah.
clean.
Yes.
Everyone gets it. It works. There's a classic and then you just leave the last one in the list. It's just the actual one.
That's
Yeah.
exactly
Yeah.
what I would do in anything similar to this. It's
Replacing
funny
the
to not
wife,
change it.
and his wife with the ice.
Ice.
is
Ice.
really funny.
It's really slick.
Yes. Well, this is a question maybe is because I've been grappling with this in my own head. Where do we all fall in terms of do we like the Billy Crystal medleys? Where do you put it in terms of ironic like or just like? Do you even know?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
Because we loved it when
Yeah.
we would
Yeah.
look forward to it.
Loved it as a
every
kid.
year.
Everyone got it. I think it's a few crossovers with theme parks for me where it's like, oh, I know the reference before I saw the thing. Like I knew this joke about Gilligan's Island and Titanic before I ever saw Titanic. And
I have to give credit for. I have to say that these like Mark Shaman arrangements are good. Like they're like they flow in a way like as to whether or not these are good or bad. Like lyrically, they're corny or whatever. They're not always like the most inspired, but like I do like listening to them as like
And he pulls
Yeah.
them off music, and it utilizes the full orchestra that's always there and sounds great, and it makes it feel like elevate. It doesn't feel like some talk show bit because there's a grandeur
Right.
to
Yes.
the orchestra
Yeah.
to the stage.
And
Yeah.
soon to have a theme park credit to his name because he was one of the people behind
Oh,
the
yeah.
Rogers musical from Hawkeye that they're putting in California Adventure.
Mark
Yes.
Shaman is?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, he's good. Yeah, everything his name is on is good. Ryan, when you, I don't know if it was last year or when you were doing this, but you were like ranking the Billy Crystal songs on Instagram, which was a delight. And to see ones that you particularly responded to, do you recall what was number one? I don't offhand.
Number one was the Full Monty was in the top. It might have been like number 3 or 2, and it wasn't really ranked by the best. It was more ranked by what like was lodged in my head. It was more like a subjective rating of like if a line like if I think about it sometimes while I'm driving or something that it's in the thing. But number one was the year. It was he had done all the movies for 1990. It was in 93, so it would have been the movies in 92. So it's Unforgiven, Few Good Men or whatever. So he sings Unforgiven. It's to the music of Unforgettable. It's Unforgiven, a few good men, scent of a woman, the crying game, and a few good men. That's the list of all 5 nominees. Now before I slide down on my knees, Mr. Saturday Night. And everyone's like,
Which he was plugging at the
Yes,
time,
yeah.
the film.
And there was talk that maybe the film would be up for Oscars. I think David Paymer did get an Oscar nomination for it.
Oh, really?
But yeah. And so it was this thing. It was just so raw.
Yeah.
Him
yeah.
wanting that you know, a joke,
Sure.
but also like I made it. It's kind of like My Giant, you know, kind of like
Right,
Yeah. Very,
Yeah.
very bald, I guess. The one that I think I told you this when you were posting those. The one that's lodged in my head forever, and I couldn't even remember what movie it was for, but it was George Clooney for sure. And I mean, now I know what it is, but the song I just remembered was George is cracking up because his wife is shacking up. George is cracking up because his wife is shacking up. And then he's kind of comatose. And I don't remember it from there.
Yes,
that is-
that's probably the Descendants.
The Descendants.
Yes,
I think.
right.
And I had to look. I only in a list later did I realize that's some Hawaiian hit, like pop song. That's like a Don Ho kind of song.
Oh,
I
the
think.
Hawaiian tie-in.
Or
Oh,
it's too like a traditional Hawaiian song. I don't know exactly, but like couldn't place
Isn't
the melody
it in the
at all.
Tiki Room? I think that song.
At
The end.
Maybe.
I think so. I
Could
don't know the
be.
name of it, but it's I think in a lot of stuff.
This brings me to a question that I had, and I wonder if we could just put on our Bruce hats. Do we think that we could think of a plausible Billy Crystal song for this year's nominees? And I say that, and I don't think we don't have to flesh out the whole thing. Just be the vaguest idea of it. And with this, I don't mean to make it tougher to tie your hands behind your backs, but I remind you of the Billy Crystal rules, which are it preferably a song from before 1959. And if possible, with the Jonah Hill one being the exception, a song that is nice to the people involved about how much he likes them.
Yeah,
that's just bonus points. But does at this point, what you got to do is just like. And I don't know a lot of these songs, but if maybe we can work backwards from like the Cole Porter catalog or a song from a musical.
Yes, you have to know the Great American Songbook.
Rodgers and Hammerstein song.
That would help. Like
table.
my favorite things. I know he did once.
Right.
I think if we can think of just a song from a musical at all, I think we could go backwards.
Yes. Well, okay. Let's just take a title. What's a title from this year?
Right. What are the movies?
And then rhyme it with something from.
Well,
there.
Tar has.
there we
thank
go.
you,
Okay.
Oh my God. All Quiet on the Western Front.
Okay.
Women Talking.
Okay.
Here. Let me admit, guys. Since I came in with this in the pocket, I did this thought exercise on the couch with Erin a little while ago, and she said, "Oh, you know what? What about like Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy?" And I thought for a second, then I think, wait, can I remember it? I think it was, it's they're the Fuss and Feud and Fablemans of Phoenix AZ.
All right. Now you're talking.
But don't let me take Fablemans off the table.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Tar, there's a lot of rhyme schemes for Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I think there's probably something in like, you're the top gun maverick. You're the top. I think that's Cole Porter. And whatever. And we're gonna give you no static. And you're the top,
great.
Tom. We love you, Tom. Yes, we genuinely love you, Tom. The song.
You would
is
only
nice.
agree to be here if we
Yes.
didn't make any Apatow style jokes about you. I actually thought of one for Top Gun Maverick as well, which is it was dun, 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 dun. Start cheering for Cruise. Tom's flying the planes.
Oh man,
He wants to bring the theaters back. Maverick. I should have texted you guys. We could have come in. I cheated here.
You were,
Is there one for like? Does anything? Oh, go ahead, Jason.
I think I have one for Avatar, but it's a little bit of a journey.
Sure.
Well, that's
like
what
the
Avatar is,
film
yeah.
itself.
Sure,
Yeah.
I like the journey. The Cole Porter song "De Lovely." It's delightful. It's delicious. It's the Navi.
I think that's great. That's right on.
Thank you.
what about like Lonely Goat, the Lonely Goat from Sound of Music, like Lonely Ekron or Mighty Ekron?
Or the mighty Ekron. Yeah, assuming, if he
But a
uses
Mighty
that phrase.
Ekron, like, whoa, Ekron.
And you could switch it to what's the other the animal? Well, wait, the whale is the Piacon is what? Why am I not remembering this?
Wait,
Tolkien.
Oh, the Tolkien. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you could go through all the Elu and Tolkien. That's how you switch it up.
I would also propose a Gershwin, like someone to watch over Navi.
Does anything scan with Oklahoma?
Yeah, maybe.
Could you do? Well, you could just do. I mean, you would think maybe he would do Elvis with an Elvis song, but
I think
kinda
that would
like
be the
idea
cheat.
that-
It would, like
Right. I'm trying to
But you
think.
could also just like, oh, it's Elvis. It's the most fun movie of the year.
That's what he would do.
Butler's
probably.
great. But look at Tom Hanks' waist.
Okay, how about this? And I hate to break the rules of this, but
You can, I mean.
but the song is over 20 years old, and it is another thing I say sometimes to annoy Scott. This Everclear song, "Everything to Everyone," comes into play. Where it's
Maybe
like,
Billy's daughter would.
down. You think that you're everything to everywhere and all at
and all
once.
at once. The idea that he would do that, I like the idea that Billy Crystal, like, what are some of the newer songs?
Yeah.
This is when you're writing for it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know, Everclear.
Oh, well, this is one of the hottest.
Everybody's still talking about Everclear.
One of the hottest rock and roll songs around, Mr. Crystal.
Okay, good. I'll go home. I'll look at it. Send me a tape. I'll listen.
You do what you do. You go to the parallel universe. You try to go everywhere.
I had another thought also, which is that you would do like, it's about a conductor, so you could just go to tar.
Oh,
tar.
yeah.
Right.
You
That's
could do
good.
a classical.
Good one,
Well, Beethoven is definitely more than
Yes.
older than 1959. Tar 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 tar. She didn't. Da, 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 da.
She's so fantastic.
She made her and the Krista, and now she's dead. She's getting canceled. She's getting canceled. How about? I mean, it's not that old of a song, but like women talking. Around the sewing circle, women talking in
Pretty
about-
Woman. Pretty
yeah,
Woman.
yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
no!
yeah,
I think he would do early rock and roll. I think
Yeah.
now that's what he would bring fresh to the table for the 2020s.
Yes, he'd be like,
That
we
he's
gotta
doing
have
rock
that,
and
guys.
roll
Yes,
now.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
I like that. Any other quick hits before? Wait, are we missing? No, wait. We got them all on screen right now.
The Banshees that's just a weird
yeah.
title. You know, you gotta
It's
learn how to-
something about like Anna Sharon. Is that right? I don't know how to say Anna Sharon. Like, I can't think of the song though. I feel like there's jokes, because I feel like I've heard that title said multiple different ways.
Yeah, Inner Sharon, Ed Sharon, Inner Sharon, Inner
You say Inner Sharon, I say Inner Sharon.
Yeah.
You Inner Sharon, Inner Sharon.
Let's call the whole flick great. That's all right.
Perfect. Wow.
We put on our Bruce hats. Oh, that's all right.
I
Hey,
mean-
that's wonderful.
Some of these, a more recent host, I always love the joke when Hugh Jackman did a musical medley, and they were just doing a weird dance, and he said, "The reader, I didn't see the reader."
That was really funny.
That
That's
was
a
great
yeah.
joke.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
catches. I like when he laughed while doing it. I think Jackman was kind of. Who we liked lately? Do we like? I've liked all the Kimmel. I'm happy it's.
Yeah.
I'm happy it's Kimmel, because for the first time we will get a joke on the Oscars about the slap.
Yes.
All right.
I like it when there's a host. That's what I enjoy. Is when there's-
Controversial stand.
when there's
for
any
some
host
reason,
present.
Kimmel does it twice, and then they go, "All right, we need to lay off the whole host thing."
Yeah.
After that envelope that he did the first time, but not the second. Like, why did host disappear? Now they're just back to him.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
strange.
I was looking up some older ones because I was trying to think like pre Billy Crystal, and
Yeah.
they were much more like reserved affairs. Usually Johnny Carson hosting, and he would get some lines in, but then there were some weird moments, like 1981. The day it was supposed to happen, John Hinckley Jr. shot Ronald Reagan. And so they pushed the ceremony 24 hours. But then in a weird turn of events, they already had a pre-taped welcome from Ronald Reagan. So Johnny Carson is talking about Reagan being in a hospital room and requesting a TV so that he could watch the Oscar ceremony, and then they cut to a videotape where he's in like the West Wing talking about the magic of the movies, and it was
Wow.
just very weird. The other
It's
weird
like, from the bottom of my intact heart.
that's what when they said we're going to cut to a video of Mr. I was like, oh my God, is he in a
We're going to
emergency
cut to him in
room?
the middle of surgery.
Yeah.
And just so you know, Jodie Foster didn't. She's not impressed, sir.
Yeah.
America soldiers on.
Mission not accomplished.
But 11 years before, I found an odd segment I didn't know about where Bob Hope and Fred Astaire gave out Best Documentary and Best Documentary Short. And this was purely a way to set up Bob Hope to kind of pimp Fred Astaire into doing some dancing.
Sure.
And this is 1970. Fred Astaire was born in 1899. So he was 71 doing this. And he's still pretty good. But I was just like, wait, how old is he when this is happening? And the answer is he was 71.
It's from the 1800s.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Wow.
In terms of kind of questionable performances of that nature, I'm gonna head to some stuff that Ryan brought to the table, and this is 1983, and the first performer in this list is Liza Minnelli. Makes sense. This is how they open the shows, with this musical number. Ryan, would you like to introduce the rest?
Oh yes, this is 1983. Now I actually don't know where. I think this sat at probably at the beginning of the show is where I think it does.
I think so. Yeah.
The performers it's a medley led by Liza Minnelli, who had done the show before. Natural, gifted. When you think of what basically Billy Crystal is parodying to some degree, is something that Liza Minnelli would do wonderfully.
Yeah.
Dudley Moore.
Sure.
Who was her co-star in Arthur? Not a musical guy so much, but
Joke his way
through
through it.
Comedian. Richard Pryor,
Okay.
and Walter Matthau.
And if you have the question, can those people sing? Prepare for it to be answered. Let's do Liza Matthau prayer one.
Thousands of craftsmen and women too, loaded with technical skills,
who all do their part for the state of the art. And
Of the 417 films they made, there was many a worthy prize.
Films they made.
Felix.
And also, and if it was a little unclear how that divided up, Dudley Moore gets through his little part okay, but then he coughs, and then goes to Pryor, who just doesn't. He just
forgets
loses
the lines,
it.
yeah.
He does not have it. He's trying. He doesn't seem embarrassed or anything,
No, he's
but
cool.
he's just not a. So why would you think of him to sing?
Yeah. So what I'm more amazed at is why did they agree? Like now, no one agrees to anything, and they're like, "Yeah, we'll come out there and try to sing with Liza Minnelli." Like, sure.
Yeah, I think a person now would be like, I like my sense of I was starting to bring this up earlier that I know that Bruce Vilanch at least worked on the kind of notorious Anne Hathaway James Franco
Yes.
Oscars, and that one
was that 2011? I
think
looked
so.
it up. 2010, 2011 were the last ones he was credited.
Oh wow, okay. Oh, that might have been the last one. Yeah. But I mean, rightfully so, given how it went. It seems to me from this oral history of that one that I read, Anne Hathaway was like very, very frightened and copped to it several times during the show. It was just kind of out of her wheelhouse. And she can sing, though, and she was still... and then Pryor just like, yeah, sure. Like, zero nerves.
What I would say is, like, the Anne Hathaway, if that failed, might have been I don't think that one failed as a failure of Anne Hathaway's hosting. If anything, she was the capable host.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't gone back and rewatched it. Who would? But, like, at the same time, it's like that probably maybe I don't know. There was some element... She's closer to like Liza Minnelli, who can she can go out and carry the whole thing, maybe.
Yeah. That one, because I went and looked around for like, are there clips of that for this episode? And it's just that the whole thing is off. There's no moment
That's been
worth
drugged.
playing. Yeah. Mainly that just doesn't. No. I just like they aren't that crazy to look at. It's just even the oral history said it's not that one thing was really bad. It was like death by 1,000 cuts.
There was like a mood in the. Yeah, I remember that. There was
Yes,
like a mood
just
the whole
never-
night versus like. Yeah, him doing something crazy.
James Franco, I think, like by the time he came out and dressed as a woman or something, or there was some kind of drag thing that didn't quite play, and by then you're really not
right.
Really, well, this is what we got. This is the one idea that they agreed to. There's one more of. Can we play Liza Matthau Pryor 2 just to get one more hit of that sweet Mathau singing. I wouldn't have
The
thought he'd be
Mathau
the
singing
loser
is
of
so
the bunch.
funny.
I just didn't know what maybe he's like an old maybe he knew how to sing, but then the answer is this.
And what about tonight? Now,
There were 2,000 tuxes and cummerbunds waiting for people to wear, and 5.
Co-star of Hello Dolly, by the way.
Oh, right.
Totally unfamiliar.
Yeah.
Cummerbunds, the way he looks to the sky.
Yeah. But he's like singing to a different song. It sounds
Yeah,
like
yeah.
He's
the
not
track
on
is
beat.
pretty
He's on-
smart, yeah.
Liza even tries to help. Her line says, "Now, what do you think now? Now."
now. Wait.
but you know, as kind of disastrous as this is, they just laugh their way through it, and it's fine, and it's all made up for by what, Ryan, you alerted me to at the end of the clip. Can you play number 3? They didn't know, nobody in the audience remembered this song by the time this thing happened, which is just legit good.
That we explain the voting procedures. So here to read the rules, here's Mr. John Machita.
I know that name offhand. You know who this
Thank
is?
you, Ms. Minnelli. The voting procedures work like this. All active Academy members may vote on nominations for the 5 pictures of the year.
Oh, the fast talk guy.
Yeah, Micro Machines.
Etc. All members send in those nominations to select.
That's that. You get the idea. I mean, that's just fun. He gets a huge applause at the end.
Yeah.
Ernest Borgnine loves it.
He's like, I love it. That was probably before the Micro Machines campaign ever even started.
yeah, probably.
Yeah. It might have just been something he was doing for bits and talk shows or something.
This guy.
If campaigns are on the table, have Flo, the progressive lady, and the Geico Gecko, have them come out together. Like, well, we don't usually share the stage. We don't usually share the spotlight.
Well, and the guy from in the Hulu pool.
Yeah, please.
Oh, yes,
Please.
Hulu executive before.
Yeah.
Let's get you out there.
I'd love that.
What does everyone here want to host the Oscars?
No.
Sure.
Would you do? You like? Was
Sounds-
that?
it sounds-
I'm asking you, like, as a kid, was that something you were like, I'd like to do this?
As a kid, yes. Now you know it's just such a trap. Like nobody comes out a lot. Like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
I think it's possible because of Podcast The Ride. You guys could be asked. It's
Well,
it's
we're on the way.
It's
We're on the way.
possible.
It's possible.
I've been trying to get us to host the Thea Awards, the theme park awards,
Oh.
but we've been turned down just even getting free tickets to it.
I think a hosting trio could be in your future, and I think take any hosting job in the world. I think when people it's amazing to me that they can't find a host for the Oscars. That is absolutely mind-boggling.
Right.
That there's not comedians, and I'm sure there are
There has to be a small list, though, don't you think?
Yeah, I think the list.
That's
I think the
really what
list
it
is too. The list is too small.
Yeah.
And too many people are too afraid of. I don't know. I guess what happened to Ariana DeBose is just like one thing is going to be pulled out and their career is going to be over. I guess.
Right.
You know what I think? I think they. I bet what we don't know about is that I wonder if they aim way big. Like you always hear, they want Dwayne Johnson, and then maybe they try that for 4 months, and then it falls apart, and then they have to scramble, and then like people who actually would be good at it are not available, or they have to go to like their third choice on the. I bet they lose a lot of time pursuing. That's why Hathaway and Franco happened. Is that they were trying Timberlake for a while. And then he, which would have, because the whole idea was like, who do young people, like last time it was Steve Martin and Alec Baldwin, which was good also. Like that's a strange calculation. Then the next year they just completely flipped. Well, I think the next year was Billy Crystal. Like who cares? Oldest we can think of.
Old is back.
Old is new. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Well, I have a clip from a way that the ceremonies used to begin, which was everyone arriving while a narrator names who you're seeing.
I loved those.
And I forgot how much I liked them. And then I discovered a moment where I'm like, well, this is a thing we bring up on the show. We like the old Disney parades or like the old clips where it's like the fifth Mickey, like it's not the A or B voice for Mickey. It's like the D or E voice they got.
Oh, yeah.
And this is kind of just one of those unscripted moments. Jordan, if you can bring up, it's labeled 1996. And this is, they're loading people in. the interviewer who is going so fast is Oprah Winfrey. This is not current, like last 10, 20 years Oprah, where she is sitting down and thoughtfully, slowly conducting. She is rapid fire going like, who are you? What are you wearing? What are you here for? You know, that sort of thing. And she is talking to Nicole Kidman and her then husband. Well, she's just talking to Nicole Kidman.
Okay.
Hello, Miss Kidman. How are you? To die for. That's what you look like tonight. Just to die for. And you were.
What are you?
Okay. You're presenting something?
Yes.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Introducing Babe.
Introducing Babe.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
For the listener, Tom Cruise is back here saying nothing.
Yes, of course you do.
Yeah.
Big
I
smile.
love this choice of colors. The first time
Hasn't been acknowledged.
Oh, thank you.
So Tom Cruise standing there. He's got the biggest Cheshire grin on his face the whole time. At one moment, he had turned to a bandstand and wave, and you just hear dozens of people scream in excitement because one of the most famous women in the world has waved to them. By the way, he has not been named on camera.
Yeah, no acknowledgement.
But my favorite thing is that a very relatable, very human moment. He doesn't know where to stand. It's like he doesn't know where to go.
Well, they organize these. Now these things are little sets,
yeah.
and you have marks and everything. At
Yeah.
this
Pull
point.
them up.
Yeah.
It's a whole geography is like they know exactly
Sure.
where they're moving people.
And in some of the other footage, you can see people arrive and suddenly like jump and wave to someone in the press crowd in a very elegant gown, and it's clearly Joan Rivers. But she used to be like the big exciting part of the pre-show coverage. But this footage was so funny because Oprah Winfrey is just talking to Nicole Kidman and clearly wants to talk to Nicole Kidman, but it's just an odd run of questions. Like, you're here to present Babe? Like,
she's like dissing. I mean, it's a kind of a diss. There's no way she doesn't recognize Tom Cruise.
and then the very last question is, I have never seen you in that color. Like, she's like commenting on the purple dress.
Is this why Tom would later go on to jump on her couch in an angry manner?
You know what?
I'm gonna get your attention. I'm getting it now.
On this show, Mama Needs a Movie that I do. We recently talked about Interview with a Vampire with Alan McLeod.
Oh yeah.
And I was reminded of this is Babe. This is 95. In 94, Tom Cruise went on Oprah, and Oprah was like, "I don't like this movie."
Oh wow!
She said, she showed the movie to some whatever, they screened the movie for her at her audience or whatever, and she was like, "I didn't like the movie. I walked out and prayed with my friends in the lobby."
Really?
Whoa! And so I think I think that might be awkwardness.
Oh,
This is
interesting.
all tying
Wow.
together now for me.
Interesting.
Okay.
This is key
I think
info.
they later made up with the couch, but I think that might be post Interview with a Vampire awkwardness.
Wow, that's
Wow.
really fascinating.
Yeah.
Jeez. Wow. Which seems
that
so
adds
raw.
another level to it. I just could not get over him just walking right through between the two of them, and then it's just a big grin after he waves, and
This is what you
everyone
get. I'm
just
breaking
seems
the mic.
a little uncomfortable. Like everyone. Oprah is not doing a good job. That thing where you talk into the mic and then hold it over to someone
Yeah, you're not
else.
supposed to go like.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, this is so beneath Oprah to be doing this.
But all three of them are such like longtime professionals. It's just a weird hiccup. It's just a
is weird.
weird moment.
Sure.
Wow.
Well, it was saved by the presence of Martin Landau, which drove the audience.
Martin Landau and
that
then
brought
Jimmy
the ratings
Smits.
up.
The stern face of Martin Landau.
Oh my goodness.
There's a little more Landau to come potentially. You might see if you can spot a Landau later. Let me get to another thing that Ryan that you brought in, which let's go back to Crystal and to jump around, and this will take us to the 2004 Oscars, because we've talked about the opening numbers, but we have not talked about the opening films where which felt very revolutionary at the time, that he's inserting himself into all the. That was like a new in his bag of tricks. That was a new trick, I feel like, in the Titanic year, which made that one big too. That he's in Titanic, he's talking to the guy who drops off at the top, and I feel like the first few were great, but then this one 2004, we're getting a little dicey, I feel.
Yeah, and then they continued to be dicey after that. But yeah, I was searching for, in particular, 2000, because that was the year that he did an American Beauty parody. And that's scrubbed. That's really, wow. Good luck finding that one. But this is 2003. This was the movies of 2003. So Lord of the Rings was the big movie, and they kind of cut it, I think, more in a trailer form. This is directed by Troy Miller. Of Dakota Pictures up the street. Yeah, this is from. I think this is from the ceremony that year.
Yeah, and this is just. I cut it down to what I feel like are the crucial moments, the moments that hold up the best. So here's the highlights of the 2004 opening.
I mustn't go. You must. They are counting on you.
That's funny.
I haven't been to the Oscars since they were taken over by the evil wizards. You mean the orcs? No, the Weinsteins.
He's blind in one eye.
But I ain't deaf, babe.
Oh no!
I mean
Some
that.
2004 blackface.
To return.
Now we're in Lord of the Rings.
And nothing would stop his journey back home.
Stop this war! Shame on you, hobbits! Shame on you! This is a fictitious war! This lord was not elected by the populace.
Michael Moore shows up to be crushed.
Yeah, that'll show him for wanting the war to end.
Give me some advice.
Light him up, Bill.
And Jack hands the magical sunglasses. This has several endings, I feel.
Light him up.
And then he puts them on.
Kill him, baby.
Is he kill him, baby?
Kill him, baby. Light him up, kill him, baby. Keep it all in, Troy. Keep I'm going to give you a lot of options. Keep them all in.
Keep it all in.
Keep that steady cam spinning and spinning.
What's that contraption you're riding around on there? It looks pretty cool.
That's a segue. Interesting. This is full disclosure, and I'm not gonna say anything here, but there's a friend of ours, a friend of all of ours, who worked on this exact opening. Who might be listening and worked on this and is flashing to a lot of memories. And I am not in a position to tell their stories, but I just want to broadcast this message that if you ever want to tell the stories about the 2004 opening with Sammy Davis Jr. and the magical sunglasses, we would hope that you would consider us to be the venue should you decide to go public.
And you're not talking about Jack Nicholson.
Well, all right, fine. He started listening after we showed all those pictures
with him and the hoagie in the boat.
Yeah, with him and the hoagie.
That happened last week.
He really likes that. So
he's like, I love the attention, guys. Thanks for remembering.
You're finally nobody's building me up these days.
Yeah. By the way,
light them up, good boys.
Jack Nicholson, primo seats at the 2012 Oscars and those 1970 Fred Astaire Oscars.
Always. That's the thing. We love it. Jack's in the front.
It is fun when Jack's in the front. It is exciting.
Yeah.
I won't lie.
He ain't gonna be in the front no more. The days are over.
Yeah, that's true.
Mike, do you want to throw anything in?
Oh,
I know you brought a couple clips.
So both these clips, I think, what I like about the Oscars, especially at this era of the Oscars, like 80s-ish, is that it's Hollywood has changed, but the Oscars hasn't. That's something that kind of is over now, but there's still obviously the music. They want musical. They want some schmaltz. But I feel like when I'm watching some old clips from the 80s, I go, what the hell? Like, this guy's alive? Like, I didn't know. And then especially when they're talking about certain movies. Let's start with Jordan, the file named Liberace. This is 1980. This is 1982, and I was just watching the 1982 Oscars.
We are so far into punk. We're like beyond punk now.
Well, right.
So much has changed culturally.
Yeah, right, and
Prince
movies
is
have
happening,
changed.
and we're still doing.
I've read
punk is over, metal is in.
Yeah. No, I've read movies change in 1969. I've read the book Easy Rider, Raging Bull, whatever.
Yes, the Rebels.
I read the book,
but
it's 82.
Of the back of the celluloid backlot.
It's 82, and Liberace is going to play a medley of all of the scores of the movies of the year.
Light them up, Lib.
So let's play this. Just a little bit of it, just because I like seeing Liberace at the Oscars. So he's played a little intro, and he does a little joke up here.
The theme from Reds.
Thank you very much. Well, I've done my part for motion pictures. I've stopped making them.
And that joke goes pretty well.
The writer
He
of that
means it. He
screenplay.
really
He's
means
gone
it.
back to writing books. His name is Irving Wallace.
No applause.
What?
Smatter?
Although I've
Confused.
stopped making movies,
He's just rolling
I've
through
never
it.
stopped attending them. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, I'm enchanted by the music.
1982.
I think it's consistently the most original music written today. Mr. Conti, will you help me remind everyone
Bill Conti.
of this year's
Oh, yeah. It's
Bill
five
Conti, a lot of
nominees,
years.
beginning with Chariots of Fire.
Oh, that's cool.
It is. I mean, it's cool. I like it.
Vangelis.
And I don't have the full. We don't have. You'll put listen a little bit of this, but then. So like Liberace is an awesome piano player.
It's nice to hear him doing this. This is good.
It's cool.
This is good.
And then he does all of it. This is the year On Golden Pond is nominated.
Iconic score.
So I don't have.
From On Golden Pond.
I mean, this rules. I love this. Is
The titular song by Joe Strummer.
So you can stop playing it. And then he does.
Here's some of Stop Making Sense.
It's. I mean, I love it. But yeah, again, it's just like it's funny because he's old school Hollywood, but it's 82 and yeah. So
Can I do one from 82?
Yes.
Since we're talking about that.
Oh, yeah, go for
this
it.
This is Ryan actually, and another thing that I just think is good. This is from what did I call it? Did I call it Sheena Easton? This is for Your Eyes Only. This is a performance of the Bond song For Your Eyes Only. One of my favorite. That might be could be my favorite Bond song. And they, Ryan, as you put it, this is a rare occasion. This is just the Oscars turn into a stunt show.
This is close to a stunt show as I've ever seen it be. Yeah.
So there's a little bit of song, but then then things get real stunty.
I wonder who produced it. Oh yeah.
And you've got the real henchmen, by the way. I don't know their. I am not a Bond enough person, but
the old
Richard Kiel.
Richard Kiel,
He's
yeah.
the big tall guy. What a gown on Sheena. We're getting disco-y here in 82.
Yeah, a car
And
pulls
a
up on
car
stage.
pulls on a stage. Is it Bond? Who is it? It's a dancer. There's a kick.
There's a pirouette.
Maybe that.
I guess it's later you find out it's Bond, but he's in an orange jumpsuit. It's weird. He stabs someone with a sword.
James Bond and his trusty sword.
Lasers.
That's the same
Explosion.
lasers from
The RoboCop. Oh my god! Guitar wailing. I mean,
James Bond.
It looks like the Universal, the Conan the Barbarian stunt show.
Oh,
It
yeah.
looks so much like that. It's
Whoever produced 82, I gotta hand it to them. I like both of these things.
When was the last time
good.
like a fake punch was thrown at the Oscars?
I don't know.
That's a
Well,
good
we
question.
know the real one.
I know we know the real one, but I just want to know when was the last time wrestling? You say a worked punch.
worked punch, yeah.
Now they don't pull punches.
Yeah.
I think they did stop doing this kind of
Strong
thing.
yeah.
I think everyone would like it. Some bit
People
like
want-
we're gonna just do like the Avengers are gonna fight on the.
The Avengers should fight.
And
would
none
be
of them are famous. It's
Yeah.
all just generic.
Yeah, it's just
actors.
dancers.
Yeah.
Dancers are just like pretending to fight with big high kicks. Like just get the Rockettes to dress as the Avengers and have them high kick each other. Like that, people would like it.
Did you have another one, Mike?
Yeah, let me go quickly. It's I believe 1987. And I was looking at some lists for things. I was just looking up like bad Oscar moments. And the intro to 1987, which I had to do a little hunt for, and I found it pretty easily. Again, sort of the juxtaposition of the movies that came out versus wanting to do a big Hollywood number of like something that would be in the 40s or something. So I'll let this unfold. There's a lot of elements that I enjoy, but you'll be able to tell, I think, pretty quickly which ones I like. So there's a dancers
Star Trek 4 logo.
and they're dancing
really
on the
big.
movies that came out this year, and they're appearing
on
behind him.
Blue Velvet.
So you have to listen to some of these.
Fly.
The flies in the background
of a lesser
as they're
god.
dancing like it's an old school. So listen to the They'll start singing soon. That's Hannah and her sisters is in the back. Children. Hannah and her sisters. Platoon. Platoon is a
Salvador.
Salvador. Okay, so they're like these dancers are like they're like dressed like newsies or something, and they're shimmying and they're big high kicks, and we love Platoon. So here we go. Here comes Dom DeLuise.
Yeah.
We got the show right here. Knock your onion
Here we go.
Can't do.
Sure thing.
All right. He's not the only one.
Sure thing. If excitement is your thing. Sure thing. Sure thing.
Telly Savalas.
Wow.
Sloppy Telly. I cleaned up for the big night.
Pat Morita.
Yeah.
Wow.
Does this seem a bit under rehearsed?
In 87.
Yeah. This is a Guys and Dolls
It's a hard,
reference.
yeah. This is like Walter Matthau singing a regular song.
Yeah. Famously,
And Platoon and got Blue Velvet and Salvador.
Star Trek 4. I want some more. El Salvador.
Hannah here and her sister's near.
This is 1987. This isn't 1965. This is 1987.
decades after the Brando Sinatra Guys and Dolls movie,
Yeah.
too. So
Right.
maybe there was a revival.
Blue Velvet came out this year.
Yes.
The only,
right
the only
in front
thing
of
wrong
us.
with this is you shouldn't open with a showstopper. That's it.
Yeah.
How do you top
can't
it?
follow
Where
that.
do you go from
How
there?
do you top
Yeah.
it?
We should have thought of that for the Billy Crystal. He would do that. You got your Western front. It's all
Right.
quiet here.
And the Germans
your-
are running in with diarrhea.
She's tar. She's tar. That is a song that you can, if you look on YouTube, you can find 1 million like high school productions of Guys and Dolls, and that is an opening
Sounds
number.
like a great search to do.
No,
You're in for a great
Were
night.
you in the Guys and Dolls ever?
I was not in Guys and Dolls ever, unfortunately.
man.
But that is very fun that people have cut compilations together, or you can just find that element of the song because it's watching 15-year-olds in ill-fitting suits try to do the 3 people singing slightly different things at once.
Yeah, and they
reach for tin horns. Few for tin horns.
It's very similar to Dom
Sloppy
DeLuise.
Tully couldn't necessarily do it.
DeLuise.
We gotta get Telly. It's 1987. Who do we gotta see?
You know what's funny? Also, I was looking up. I found that clip, and then for some reason, like a browser closed, and then I was like searching for it, and I found like the opening, like when the hosts come out, and I go, "Well, Cheryl Ladd and William Shatner hosted the Oscars this year," and then I went, "Oh wait, this is a Golden Globes showed up."
Oh, okay.
I was like, "When did William Shatner host the Oscars?" Oh, okay, all right, Golden Globes, got it.
He was in the Seth MacFarlane.
I mean, that goes to show you though what Billy Crystal. That's a really good context of the Billy Crystal thing though. Is of what it was reactionary, of what it was reacting against. Like, and so when Billy Crystal showed up and did what was essentially an ironical version of that, it was like a funny parody version. Like,
you forget that context,
Yeah.
and I recently rewatched the first one or the second one, and he did couch it as like, and I know you don't want one of these big musical numbers.
Yeah.
That's so annoying.
he did that for like 3 years, and I think like when younger people look at it, they're like, "Oh, that's corny." He's doing like a medley, and like, no, he's doing a parody of what was persistent on the Oscars for many years.
We have no idea how bad it was.
Yeah.
Which
Right.
maybe takes us into the big ones that are remaining.
Oh yeah,
are from 1989. And are we good to move on to 89? Because we need to spend a little time in 89.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. I have
Big
something
ones.
for the end, but I'll save it for the end.
Okay, sure. 89. Well, so I mean, I don't need to say the whole context. One thing that happened in 89. The context is this is not the worst thing that happened. Although that's up for debate because Ryan, you put this on your list I'm honored to have apparently exposed you to this one. You didn't know
I think you showed this to
one
me first, yeah.
And your argument was the listeners might know where this is heading. Like, what are they saving as the worst thing that ever happened on the Oscars? You might know. But this is a solid candidate. You said maybe this is worse. This is more skin crawling to you.
This is the most oozy. Like you talk about your hair standing up. This is the hair standing up for me.
Yeah.
Thing I've ever seen on any award show.
Yeah, maybe ever. This is the clip is called "Stars of Tomorrow," and this happened deep into the show. And these people are introduced as maybe the future winners of Academy Awards.
Oh.
The sequence starts with Blair Underwood and Holly Robinson, who by now we know for the many Oscars they have won, as have everyone in this sequence. It actually is a high percentage. You can't. There are a lot of people in this who've done great things.
It's not bad for
Yeah. It could be a much lower number.
Yeah.
You maybe could have forgotten about all of these people. But wait, was there one more? The only other piece of context. I've tried to be a little sparing with these clips and these ins and outs, but this one I'm like, I think you have to just sit in it and deal with it. Maybe we'll cut it off, and if you can't take any more,
okay, we'll tap out.
Yes, please.
Are you going to show the intro?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, not the people, not Bob and Lucille.
Okay,
I don't have
that's a little bit important. Is that Walter
Sure.
Matthau comes out and introduces Bob Hope and Lucille Ball, who are about as legendary as anyone is at that time, and then they introduce this.
They get an intro. A legend introduces two legends, who then set up this. Let's hit it.
I'll be the one who walks up here accepting the prize.
And he's at a podium where you would accept the Oscar.
I don't know who Holly Robinson is. She can sing. I don't know.
She Holly Robinson Pete now.
Oh, okay.
And I forget sitcoms, big TV shows. I don't know. And now there's dozens more. Like Jolie Fisher, later from Ellen.
Don't tell me about my speech. I'll know just what to say. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, man.
Gee, but it's great to be an Oscar
Hey, this spry guy, Keith Coogan. Jackie Coogan's grandson.
Oh, wow. I
He's
didn't
from
realize
Adventures
that.
in Babysitting, who I do like.
Yeah, a lot of these people.
Tyrone Power
It's not
Jr.
the people themselves, it's this number.
Ricky
Ricky
Lake.
Lake, sure.
Manly jacket and hat. I think that's Melora Hardin.
Yeah.
Who's that busting those Michael Jackson moves? Is it Michael?
Oh,
Corey.
Still wearing that jacket.
All right. I made it up through that.
I mean, Blair Underwood and Melora Hardin have worked quite a bit. But
Yeah.
Well,
but this is such a weird pressure to put on
nothing
someone.
to do with the actors.
Yeah.
And it's everything to do with who put it together. Like, what jokers put this song together? Well, according to Lucille Ball at the beginning, it's Marvin Hamlish, then the winner of several Oscars. What did Marvin Hamlish do? Big ones. Way We Were. I think. Yeah. Fred Ebb wrote the lyrics, the lyricist of Cabaret and Chicago, and the song New York, New York mentioned earlier.
Well,
major cred.
What
to
I will
these
say
people.
about this number is that it's not a good song, and you can tell literally by the progression of notes and the idea that Ricky Lake and Jolie Fisher are on a stage singing a song that's like or like that's bad. That's not a good. I'm sorry, Marvin. That's not. Rat Packers should not be singing that style of like, and Hollywood tonight will find me here on the stage. It's just not a
skin crawling moment for me is it was in that clip when Ricky Lake says the word statuetter.
Yes.
I'm a
Oh, yeah.
statuetter. I hate things like that, like made up words and Broadway song. That is
Also
so lame.
This is like there's a lot of nepotism on that stage. Let's face it. Tyrone Power Jr. is there. Eddie Fisher's daughters or so and so's daughter is there. It's like
two Eddie Fisher daughters. Yes.
Two Eddie Fisher daughters are there. It's like if the New York Times Nepo article were. Instead of an article, it was a stage show. That's what that is.
I'm gonna make the best show you've ever, Sam Levinson.
And they'll scream. Well, when the Idol premieres on HBO, I'll take it over from Amy Simons, and here we go.
You know what? It's not a fix. It's not a fix I have. Well, it is a fix. Maybe it is a fix. If you just take everyone's name away from it, it's not going to make the song sound better, but then it doesn't put like the pressure on everyone to get the not when they don't get the Oscar in 30 years. You know what I'm saying?
Then it just looks like a stage of young performers.
That's right. Everyone's sort of on the same level.
But you don't know who the fuck they are.
I know, but then they're just sort of like nameless actors, and you're saying, look at this, the young actor. Like, it's not putting any pressure on the specific performers. I'm not saying it's good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying it might be a little bit better and less like presumptuous that we're just like ordaining these people.
Maybe that's what the audience saw. Maybe the audience was like, who are these talented singers and dancers? Wow.
So it was appropriate for the people sitting in the theater.
Yes, but at home, being introduced to talent, I would have fired my agent if I was like later on like Patrick Dempsey shows it, like Christian Slater is in it. Like it's a wild thing to watch at full length, but it's such an embarrassing way to be presented, I feel.
Yeah. Well, never stopped Corey Feldman from doing anything. He takes the lead in this next little part.
And he was also famous then.
He was famous. He'd already been the star of a bunch of movies.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just that he said yes. And that, like, maybe they were getting desperate, and he's like, "Can I do my moves?" Yeah, fine, whatever. Let's just get a little bit
I
of
don't
like.
think Marvin Hamlish wrote that into the performance. Then
Corey,
he does
bust some of your moves.
Then
Corey,
he does a moonwalk.
Corey, we can't bring out the angels, but you can bust your moves.
You just play Stars of Tomorrow too. Like minutes pass. This is so long. Like a bunch. I skipped a bunch, and then it gets to this. Corey Feldman does Michael Jackson dances, but not as good. We're good. Are they going to Footloose? No. It's generic. Keith Coogan slides, wiggles.
He does the splits too, though.
Say what?
They're holding, waiting for some cue that didn't happen.
Say what?
Say what?
I don't.
What?
This is one more of these. I don't think I want to see it. I think I'm done with Stars of Tomorrow. There's sword fight. Christian Slater's in a sword. All right, Jordan's making us. You wouldn't want to be seen doing this. Do you want to be seen watching it?
I don't want to be seen watching it.
Then this guy walks to a podium. It takes a long time. Don't know who he is.
And the Oscar goes to...
Run back. Everyone up the stairs. As fast as you can. Hurt yourselves. If they'd all spilled to the bottom of the stage, then it would be the best thing that ever happened.
They should do a salute to the movies that may win in 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
Try to guess?
Yeah, just guess the names.
Finian's Love. What's that? Guessing titles?
You'll be on the floor when I'm the star of Godfather 4.
Yeah, it's all sequels.
When I'm taking home for playing Rain Man again. I'm taking home the gold for...
When I play Rain Man Jr.
Rain Man Rising.
Definitely be great. Amazingly, this is not the worst or longest musical number involving a low brother in this year's Academy Awards. Because now we go to the inevitable, where else could it be? And they've had a lot of chances to do something worse. They've done things that are more notorious and stranger and slappy, but they have not done anything this crappy. And it is, of course, the 1989 Snow White sequence. have we all had experience with this? I mean, it's you can't not run into it.
Yeah, I watched all of it.
I feel like mostly in montages I've seen. I don't know if I've ever seen like a big chunk of it.
Which they're talking about it like it's War and Peace. I've seen it all. Well, I've seen bits.
I've seen bits and pieces.
It's been on the list. It's been in the queue of crap.
I studied it in college. My thesis was on it. It's in college.
I was Showa and the big ones. This one, the Bellatar movies, and this one. I gotta get around to.
I'm waiting to show it to my child. Let's just go dive right in, and we can do more context. But let's just see what the viewers saw. Which is first we're in the lobby. We're outside the Oscar Theater, and then Army Archered, a reference no one's had to know for the last 30 years.
But was out to their credit.
Yes,
was well known as like he's the guy that. I don't even know what he did now.
He introduced people, like he greeted you on the way to the. He was a variety writer.
He was a variety writer. When I first moved to LA, the first celebrity that I first saw when I was living in Westwood going to UCLA was Army Archer.
Really?
Wow.
I saw him at a screen. I went to the movies. I saw Nurse Betty, like 3 months after it came out, and Army Archer was like a row behind me.
Wow, like Armin Shimmerman was.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it actually distracted me. I was like, Army Archer is in
What
the
happened
same
with me and
movie
Armin
theater.
and Andre? I'm sitting behind us.
If I cough weird, he might put it into a review.
Oh no! I'm gonna end up at what if I end up a star?
So he's in the lobby of the theater, and he introduces the special guest, who is Snow White. Let's do the first one.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's one of the great legends of Hollywood. She's back with us tonight, Miss Snow White. Good evening.
Oh, good evening, Mr. Archer. It is so exciting to be here tonight. I'm a little late, though. Can you tell me how to get into the theater?
That's easy, Snow. Just follow the Hollywood stars.
Follow the Hollywood stars? Oh, follow the Hollywood
A couple of star costumes walked by her, and then the stage is full of them. This is what would be at like the high school fashion show.
89.
Wait, did I leave in? Is this just stars? Did I leave in her talk? I guess I don't have her. Then Snow White comes in and walks through the front row, like the first couple rows where the big stars are. And she sings to this. She sings an amended version of "I Only Have Eyes for You."
Yeah, bothering the Glenn Close, and like
she wasn't ready to twerk yet.
Yes, exactly.
She was
not ready to
back
twerk.
then.
Yeah.
Well, even the twerking, she was freaking out because she wasn't sure if someone was going to appear at the ceremony and start singing to her. So she's trying to distract everyone. It was a panic move.
She's singing to like it's Robert Downey Jr. and Tom Hanks and Michelle Pfeiffer and according to this woman's recollection, Eileen Bowman, the actress, who is a complete unknown. She's never done anything on television. This is her first time on television we're watching, and it's this. And she has to go face to face with all the biggest stars in the world. And she was very nervous. But she got to the stage and she saw her friends who were the dancers who were the stars, and she thought, maybe I will have some fun. And then she tried to take Michelle Pfeiffer's hand, who gave her this look like, get the fuck away from me, and refused the hand. She realized, this is not going to work, and I have 11 minutes to go.
Yeah.
She goes down the aisle. There is one person who is very sweet and nice to her, and that is Martin Landau. Which just holds her hand, and which is in keeping with things we've recently heard about Martin Landau.
I'll see you later. I'll see you after the show, dear.
You have time to write your number down. I know you're doing a thing, but anyway, maybe now that's what the viewer got without context. So the viewer is baffled. Why is Snow White? Who is this? Why is it Disney Snow White? But who is playing? It's like at a theme park where who would this? You don't know who the just generic person is playing her. The greater context here is that this is the year that Alan Carr produced, 70s, 80s mega producer, did a lot of musicals, did Grease, great.
Bruce Grease.
Did this Village People movie that was a massive bomb at the time. Can't Stop the Music.
I've been in Alan Carr's home.
What?
Really?
Formerly owned by Alan Carr, because I've been in Brett Ratner's home.
Oh, jeez.
He bought the home owned by Alan Carr. Has an underground disco. Has
wow.
He's
Oh,
filled
there's
it
a lot of
with
weird
all
shit
his
in there, right? He has like Clockwork Orange props.
He has a collection of props, including the phallus from Clockwork Orange. He says it was real. Actually, now I'm doubting that. Now that I think about it, yeah, he might have been lying. Anyways, that was a weird thing of its own because Ratner was
almost produced.
Thought he could produce.
Yeah.
Eddie, I think at the time when I saw him in his home, he was trying to get Eddie Murphy to host SNL.
Oh,
and then
he had that ability. That he was enough of the Murphy whisperer.
He thought he was like a Murphy whisperer, and so he was trying to get Eddie Murphy to. I can talk about this now because I will hope to never see Brett Ratner again.
let's all hold as hard as we can. Listeners too. Let's all just hold hands through the podcast space.
That's kind of the inspiration for It Follows. You just in the distance see a fuzzy Brett Ratner following around. You're like, oh, I hope I didn't see that again.
But yeah, he was like, I can get Eddie to, Eddie's going to host SNL for a Tower Heist or whatever they had done, and then that didn't happen, and then so when years later it was like rumored, or it was basically set up. I was like, this isn't going to happen, like the chances of this happening anyway. But it was all Alan Carr's house, and it was
wow.
Yeah.
So and then his Oscars fell apart. So it was the curse of Carr, I think.
Yeah, exactly. There's a Carr curse, and not Christine.
You don't know.
Yeah.
So
that's Alan Carr.
But he's that's good content. Yeah. He's deep in party mode here. He was a party guy. I think he was a manager, hosted a lot of party, worked with Hugh Hefner. So he, in addition to being a big producer of stage and screen, everybody knew him from parties. So it just made sense that and he. In taking over the Oscars, he actually said what he said was, I don't want it to be one of these boring, stodgy affairs like we've been having lately. Meaning all the ones we've just been watching. The year before was RoboCop and 209 and Pee-wee. That was a boring year in Alan Carr's mind.
Yeah.
So he wants to.
Yeah. The fascist robot showed up? No thanks. Let's party. Come on.
We need glamour. We need elegance, and that's what I'm going to do. And we need the longest musical number ever attempted on live television.
Yes.
Okay, we've all watched the entire. I mean, it's almost like if we really wanted to punish ourselves, we could just watch it and do commentary. But do we really want to? We're adults. We have lives.
We've been talking for a while.
Yes, yeah. No, I'm not suggesting it. But that's really the way to experience the pain. But I've called.
I think it's also what's bad about it is that like there are, as we have seen almost every year, the musical number is bad. But what's unique about this Alan Carr produced thing, which I really do think the burden falls on him. I don't think it's Snow White. I don't think it's Rob Lowe. I don't think it's Eileen, what's her name? Bowman. She was a young, probably talented person.
You don't think it's Vincent Price and Coral Brown?
Vincent Price and Coral Brown. Certainly not Roy. It's not Roy Rogers and Dale Evans' fault. I'll tell you that much.
They just sit and enjoy the show.
By the way, probably the last appearance any of those people ever made on the Oscar stage.
Sure.
Yeah,
the last round of applause they got was in this thing. Merv Griffin also comes into.
Merv Griffin's doing a whole singing number.
But I think what it is, it's that just when you think it's going to end, it goes for another 3 minutes, and just when you think it's going to end, it goes for another 3 minutes, and just when you think it's going to get, it goes for another 3 minutes.
There are different movements of it. It's like a suite. It's like a musical suite.
It's a Russian nesting doll.
Yeah.
It really is that there's like sets within sets within sets, which now we're doomed to do as we describe it here at the end of the episode. But you said some of the things that happen. She makes some stars very uncomfortable and then is reminiscing about times in old Hollywood. And the reason any of this is happening is because Alan Carr saw a show called Beach Blanket Babylon in San Francisco, big campy show that was this. It was like a tribute to the 40s, and Snow White takes you through different 40s scenes. And he's like, I'm doing that. We're opening the Oscars with that. Which none of us know that. Like, this is the viewer is like has no sense
what
the
viewer. I was trying to really contextualize. I was trying to put myself in the mind of a 1989 viewer. The viewer thinks this is Disney. They know Snow White from one thing,
Yes.
which is Disney. And this seems like a Disneyfication of the Oscars before Disney has had its upswing. This is early 1989. Little Mermaid doesn't come out till the end of 1989. So Disney's still in the doldrums of like, Disney's not like cool. Like now if Shrek came out, not Shrek, so that's not Disney, but now if like there was an Encanto opening or something, people would go, oh, it's cool. Like this is, we're not.
It is a big hit song. Or
It's not, this is not the, Snow White is no longer cool at this moment. that this
No,
is
and it's
happening.
clear it is so much the Disney Snow White, even though
voice,
the character and the voice absolutely, and apparently,
And the costume
And the
is
costume.
from a Hollywood Boulevard rental place because it's a little off.
they put rhinestones on a Hollywood Boulevard
Yeah.
rental costume. So she's recalling her Hollywood glory days, and then suddenly the curtain opens and you're at the Coconut Grove and the Ambassador Ballroom, and then of course who else would be there? The MC, but Merv Griffin, of course, and he's of course singing "I've Got a Lovely Bunch of Coconuts." We know he did that song. That's not just a song you faintly recall from like preschool or something.
1989.
1989.
Merv Griffin.
How many of those
On the
locations?
Oscars, not the Emmys either.
Were
Yes.
standing. How many of those located? Coconut Grove and the Ambassador. The Ambassador.
Merv Griffith is Merv Griffith's notably at what is he? So he's a talk show host.
Talk show host, producer, produced all the game shows.
Okay.
And,
But it was considered kind of like a lame guy, like a schmaltzy guy in the 70s.
Yeah.
Let alone
Yeah.
89.
But a nice guy. But still,
Oh, sure,
89. What? Why?
Singing? Do
and
you,
not
do people even know?
has no association with movies that I am aware of.
By the way, when I first watched this, I was delighted to see him. I'm not saying I wasn't, but I was
I know that
confused.
Mike Carlson was delighted to see Merv Griffin.
But I don't think Alan Carr did it for me 30 years later. Unless it is.
Oh, yeah, it's a tenant.
Unless
thing.
it's a simulation.
Yeah.
Which we've been talking about lately.
We'll have to ask Mr. Slap.
By the way, Ambassador Hotel, notorious for where Robert Kennedy was killed.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
so-
what that is?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
still not the worst thing that's happened.
Not demolished until 2005.
Yikes. Yeah, so that, well, it's very much what you're saying. You're like, okay, so what now? Who now? Merv Griffin, huh? And then he introduces a bunch of people, all the stars, like, all right, Alice Faye. I'm going to be honest, I don't know who Alice Faye is. Dorothy Lamour, I kind of know that name.
Yeah, I've heard of her.
This
Yeah.
list, somebody
Sid
on our
Charisse
Patreon.
is in
Sid
there.
Charisse.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't really know who Sid Charisse is. I'm going to be honest. Somebody on our Patreon was suggesting this for Club 3, but we brought it up to the big stage. And in their suggestion, they said it's a bunch of introductions of movie stars only Jason would know.
Yeah, Sid Charisse probably the most. Sid Charisse has a big dance number in "Singing in the Rain."
Oh, okay.
And the apocryphal story is that her legs were famously insured for $1 million.
Oh, and she's the one who's like okay in this. She does like a big kick and a dancer.
Yeah,
catches
she
it.
did a lot of kicks. Yeah.
Okay, and she still got it. But most of the people, as they start rehearsing this thing, and Alan Carr has it in his head, like, and all of the greatest stars will be there, but he's picturing them 30 years ago. Merv Griffin at his height. But then they all...
Okay, if this were 60s Merv Griffin, no problem.
Oh my God! The
Oh
audience
my
is on
God!
their
It would have been
feet.
cooking. He would have been cooking.
Audience would have been turned
Stars.
on.
We've got Merv Griffin, Sid Charisse.
If you got Vincent
Howard
Price,
Hughes is here.
Vincent Price hot off Dr. Goldfoot in the Bikini Machine. Now we're talking. But 89 Price? No way.
So they have to start like, okay, maybe we can't have all of these people be in the musical number. Maybe we say their names and they wave politely.
They stand up from a table and leave.
Assuming that they're able to
Well,
do
you
that.
need the Coconut Grove audience. I mean, celebrities
still
have
there?
to be enjoying the Merv Griffin performance.
Right. All
Yeah, Roy Rogers, Dale, Vincent Price is a crazy. And who's is it Vincent Price's wife? Who is it?
Well, there's a clip that I think it's on a Gilbert Gottfried podcast where Michael McKean is they're doing dueling prices, and they both have very good prices. And Michael McKean points out that Vincent Price, I don't know if this is wrong to say, probably a gay gentleman, but was married to this woman, Coral Brown, and the speculation would be that he'd always say her full name and title, and the actress I'm married to the actress Coral Brown. He would say it like that. So yes, I believe
woman, the
they were
female
married.
actress,
Right,
heterosexual as am I.
Right. So yeah, I don't know a movie or anything she's in. All I know her is from this clip.
So
what
this
I'm
is
saying.
a little like can my wife come along on the
that was I believe his speculation.
Yeah.
Michael McKean.
Now, who is your wife again,
The
Vincent?
actress,
Who's your
Coral Brown? That's what Michael McKean says this. I don't know for sure. But yes, so all the biggest
like
stars
to get Vincent Price, you gotta bring Coral Brown into it.
right.
Okay.
Not without Coral.
We've talked about Vince Price being on the horror
Hall of Fame.
Horror Hall of Fame Awards, which would be after this. So, but Coral Brown would not be with him. I'm not sure when she died, but he would go somewhere without Coral. Is really what I'm saying. I think, as long as he was being honored in some way.
Yeah, for the Horror Hall of Fame, he went to his backyard.
Oh, that's right. Yes, he was via.
Yes,
I think
you're
he
right.
went in person one year.
Okay,
he was there 1 year. Yeah,
but yes, his backyard for one of them. Produced by Alan Carr. I think that's what he had to do after this. He took over the Horror Hall of Fame. But hey, they realized it can't just be a bunch of old fogies. We got to get some young blood in this number, and that is when Snow White meets her blind date. Let's go to Snow White 2.
Meet your blind date, Rob Lowe.
this is so wild. I just watched it a couple hours ago again.
Oh, Mr. Lowe, I'm such a fan.
Really? Wow.
Just processing him being part of it, beyond what's about to happen.
I'd like to know about you.
Used to work a lot for Walt Disney. Starring in cartoons every night and day.
But you said goodbye.
Now
to
the performance
Grumpy
here.
and Sleepy. Left the dwarves behind, came to town to stay. Lights keep on burning, cameras keep on turning.
The way she chooses to sing
But you say goodbye.
is so.
And then
The cameras rolling.
Oh.
Okay, this is a year after the thing too.
actually, well, it's the year.
Isn't
It's a
it?
year after the thing happened. But the thing is not public. So it's
Oh,
about.
so they don't.
It's
But they
part
don't
of
know the camera rolling line that he ends on here.
He's still in movies. He
Carr
wants
doesn't
cameras
know.
to be.
I guess you're right. I just think
rolling.
in hindsight.
Yeah.
It's
No,
a
it was.
little-
That's an often confused thing. It was.
Okay.
It
I was
came. It
confused.
was public soon after this, which
Soon
was like
after.
part of the curse of this
About
sequence.
like 6 weeks after, which in 1989 time is like 6 days after. Like,
Right.
Like,
Everybody, he
it's-
he already took such a big career hit from this, and then that adds to it. And if we aren't afraid of being struck down by the Doughboys curse, we can talk about Rob Lowe a little bit.
We can't talk about Rob Lowe? Oh, no.
We'll try. We can't talk about. I mean, okay. The most insane. The voice. I mean, I've thought about Grumpy and Sleepy forever, and the voice crack on it. The delivery is so. You can't. I mean, I don't know if he ever thought he could sing. It doesn't feel. It feels like he was asked arbitrarily, as with Richard Pryor. It's like doesn't matter. Big star. He's gonna be great.
Sure.
A big star can probably sing, right? And then he's just thrown to the wolves here.
Yeah, I mean, you could talk again. People can talk, sing. There's like you can get away with a lot.
Yeah.
as long as maybe you're not doing a weird voice.
Dudley Moore, I feel like Richard Pryor following Dudley Moore already doing the talk sing. That's unfair to Richard Pryor. You can't let everyone do
He
the
took it. Yeah.
You gotta throw some other ringers in there.
Dudley
Don't
Moore is a
have
good
three
talk
talk
singer.
singers in there.
Yeah, sure.
To Rob Lowe's, I think Rob Lowe can sing some.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I read about this today was that Rob Lowe did this performance and then went backstage and was mortified. Or I believe Bravo is on the record for telling this story. It was on some show.
Yeah.
He went backstage and Lucille Ball was there to comfort him and held his hand and said, "I really liked your singing."
Young man, I didn't know you could
Oh yeah,
sing
she had
so
a
well.
blew a smoke in his face accidentally.
Because remember, she introduced Stars of Tomorrow right at the beginning of this.
Well, yeah,
she's there.
She's had her own debacle for the evening.
By the way, that's the only Universal character I want to tell me that she's proud of me more than Optimus Prime.
My dear boy.
If I could go in a tiny room with Lucy and it's filled with smoke.
What a singer
she
you
goes,
are.
You're wonderful. You're wonderful.
You're wonderful. You did
You're
that.
wonderful.
Wow.
Gary thinks you're wonderful too.
Who's Gary?
Gary Morton.
Gary Morton, the new guy.
The new husband. I'm not so thrilled with him, but he's nice. Michael, you're doing a great job.
Were there any Arnez children in the Stars of Tomorrow segment?
Oh, I don't.
Maybe she
No.
didn't get the heads up.
Too
and,
late?
Yeah.
Too old, maybe.
Oh,
they
too
were,
old,
They were
yeah.
the Stars of Tomorrow in the 60s.
Yeah, in the 70s.
Yeah.
They were on
So
Here's
long
Here's
Lucy.
Lucy had already happened.
Yeah,
so
they were-
missed their chance.
Yeah.
No, he sat with Lucy for an hour. They held hands and they talked about Hollywood, and then she passed away. And again, the car curse. She passed away 5-6 weeks later.
What?
Really?
This was her last time on television, I think.
Really?
That was, oh my
Yeah,
God.
to introduce Jolie Fisher and Corey Feldman was the
what
last
a-
time she
Wow.
was. Yeah, so immediately after. At this point, it might bear mentioning that I did the show Moonbeam City for Comedy Central. Rob Lowe was the main voice on it. Ryan Perez was a writer for the show.
Yeah.
And you may recall that maybe I wasn't so vocal about it, or you could tell me if I was. To me, when it went to April
Lucy's
26th,
death date.
to me, when it went to series, when I realized we were going to have an opportunity to fill a lot of episodes with Rob Lowe stuff, priority number one to me became we have to get him to sing. Being a fan of this, whatever reason we can possibly find to get this guy to sing. You, in fact, wrote an episode, a fantastic episode of the show called CopCon that is full of themes and it's a very prescient piece about police brutality and police violence.
I should say so. Check that out somewhere if you can find it.
It was possibly on on the way out the door. You know, it was on Pluto. Before I came over here, The Legend of Circuit Lake.
Oh, there you go, Pluto TV.
It's on
wow.
Pluto. They do air it. Yeah. It really means a lot to me that they air it, and then you can see. Well, and in that one you can see the line that you wrote, which delighted me so much. An episode that's a big tribute to Free Jack, the Emilio Estevez film Free Jack, and that has the line, now I can free Jack into the system and jack off that Dazzle Novak.
Oh, there you go.
That made me so happy. First time I saw it. But anyway, you wrote this episode. I would give you entirely the credit for the weighty quality stuff in it. And I think my only contribution was we should get Rob Lowe to sing a song in it.
And I believe he sings two relatively close back to back in this show. He sings like a rockabilly song and then
he sang at Rad's wedding.
Yes.
He sang "Cop This Town" and he sang "Wed This Bride."
Yes, yeah.
Which is all on Spotify. I forgot that it was on. Look up "Cop This Town." I'm very proud. I don't know how much singing Rob Lowe had done since this performance. If he sang on Parks and Rec, I don't know it. There's not a lot of Rob Lowe singing out there. I made it a point. We're gonna get some time with this guy. Yes. He's singing a song which, to tie a bunch of things together, was the song that we put in just because I thought Brian Setzer is stupid. That's the song. I'm gonna have him sing a dumb, bad Brian Setzer-y song.
Did it cross your mind though of you think you'd do Roll It on a River?
Oh, we did it. Yeah,
Well,
I guess I wanted to get him into a new bad genre, a new bad
sure.
songs that dad bands would play. And just about that experience recording it, I will say that is the number one most fun thing I got to do making the show. Making him sing that song was so much fun. However, I was a little bit disappointed he was not a worse singer.
Oh yeah.
I kind of thought I was gonna get the grumpy and sleepy.
Yes.
But he's a perfectly capable dad type singer. I thought he was not. I think I bet he was collapsing under the pressure of because they get 42 million people.
I wonder what the direction was because I feel like the direction was you're really into her. Like that felt like that's where he's coming from.
Yes, I mean there's a shot later on where it's like a downbeat moment, and it's like a zoom in on him. He's looking at her, and it's like he's playing like in love. Like this is like a dramatic moment in the middle of a
in Lust, I would say.
In Lust with Snow White.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
he,
I feel like
grabs her hand. It's very sensual, the whole thing.
It's still not as weird as when Travolta grabbed Idina Menzel's face in that Oscars. That's the most scary moment I think of any Oscars.
They thought they were gonna fix it with that. All right, this Adele Dazeem thing was weird. Let's make it right. Let's get them together, and then like, can I touch your face? Can I touch your face?
Like just like touching.
I want to take your face.
You're so wickedly delightful. He's like squeezing her skull.
Just wonder. Those are the most wonderful nostrils I've ever put my fingers in.
It's such a mafia like threatening.
Yeah, that's a.
Anyway, that is not the last of the Rob singing, because then things kick into gear again. You think this could have been the end of the entire what we watched a little bit ago. Could have been the end of the whole thing.
That would be two. That could be two whole separate numbers already.
Yeah.
But Snow White 3.
I don't think he's bad.
He sounds better here, I'll say, than before.
Well, they also gave him a thing that is not what he... Rockabilly was his genre. I figured it out.
Yeah,
we figured it out.
Yeah, he's bad. Yeah.
Oh boy. But really, in that part, it's less him and more these the animated mama.
Yeah.
What do we do? Is there any? Was it just meant to be like this will be just the kitschiest, only appreciated tongue in cheek, or are they thinking people are going to really respond to this message of keeping cameras rolling? Hollywood's been rolling for years, and we're not stopping. Not tonight.
I think that makes more sense that it was in line with like a sincere celebration of Hollywood, and also I'm going to be an Oscar winner. That's the skeleton key into understanding this is that like this is it. Also, by the way, this is the end. Like not, Billy Crystal takes over the next year. Like this is the last one you ever got of like
the old ways.
Yeah,
no
of
irony.
The old ways. Of no irony. I think later on they said it was kitschy, but that's feels like a cop out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think Alan Carr is like, we are celebrating. We're bringing the glamour back.
Yeah.
It's going to be full of sparkles and the sparkles on stars that look like the backboard to a high school science project.
Yes.
And then when is the Tina Turner version of that song come out? So it's fairly recent, I guess, as far as because
Is it 60s though?
60s?
Oh yeah, you're right. Wait, no, but no, she had a newer version. Wasn't there? She had a newer version of it as a hit, I think.
Of Rolling on the River?
Am I wrong?
I don't know the ins and outs of the
newer
versions.
Or am I thinking of? Didn't she have? There was a performance or something. Am I crazy? Jason,
I don't know.
Jason, save me here.
She had an 80s resurgence.
Is that what I'm thinking of? I don't know.
I don't think we're within the decade.
I mean,
I know you're trying to help out
I'm
here.
trying.
It's a little bit like saying. It's a reason like people don't cover Stevie Wonder. So it's the same thing with like Tina Turner. Is like that's also not a easy task. Like go sing go sing that, actor.
Yeah.
This is meant to be like a show-stopping
Go
number.
sing that song associated with Tina Turner.
Yes, it's only the most dynamic performer in the world.
You guys got this. This is your first time on television. You could do a Proud Mary, right?
You non-singer, you very scared 22-year-old who's never been on television before. Just be Tina Turner. Go. Also, what maybe should be said is that behind them are tables and place settings, but those are people who then, like, in that part of it, they're swaying their heads back and forth, and they have flower pots on their heads, and then they all stand up. It's like Be Our Guest.
It is. It's a bit of Be Our Guest. Be Our Guest might have got the idea from that.
Possibly, yes. Yeah, the Broadway version.
Inspiration comes where you least expect it. You know?
Anyway, this goes and goes, and you all right, the Coconut Grove. All right, are we done? No, the Coconut Grove moves away, and revealing a Chinese theater. Okay, now surely we must be. No, then part of the Chinese gate moves away, and there's a kick line, and then a different part moves away, and then the top of the Chinese theater becomes the top of a wig on Snow White's head.
Yeah.
and it zooms out from listen. Here's how we ended. And then where else can it go but Snow White having the biggest wig in the world? And then but then she gets covered up by a flight of stairs that Lily Tomlin walks down.
Yes.
And by the time all this has transpired, this has been 11 minutes of live television. This is almost Super Bowl halftime show length. And they still have Stars of Tomorrow to go.
They still have to. And by the way, when Lily Tomlin walks down, she has a good joke.
Yes,
a
she
Valanche
does.
joke. This is a Bruce.
Has to be. They got Bruce.
Yeah.
The joke is, I agreed to do the show if they could only come up with an entrance. Okay.
Yeah.
So, pretty good joke. But on the stairs behind her,
right.
There's like a gag where like a guy's like somebody's reaching for a shoe or something. It's like a Cinderella reference. I don't know what it is. It's like a shoe on the stairs.
They do not convey what
And
it is.
there's
I
a
think it's
performer-
Cinderella.
But it's Snow White. Is the thing.
No,
Okay.
I'm not saying it's good.
But and then there's like a performer like hamily like reaching for the shoe, and this is fighting. That's the worst thing I actually think in that number is that all could be forgiven if she could just come out and say, hey, you know what, I what a entrance or whatever the joke is, and it keeps going. It's like it is cursed.
Yeah.
It's car cursed.
Yeah.
Well, and the car curse unspooled through as we said, Lucille Ball passes away. Watching this performance in the theater, Jeffrey Katzenberg and Roy Disney. Michael Eisner is attending to the parks in Orlando. He gets on the phone to the entire Disney legal team and says, turn on. Are you watching the Oscars? Yeah, we're watching it. All right, do your thing. Disney lawyers stay up all night so that they can have at 5:30 in the morning a legal document ready to review, which by that afternoon is sent to the Academy. We are suing you for unauthorized use of Snow White because they did not clear it. They did not, and they're thinking Snow White's in the public domain and they use it in Beach Blanket Babylon. Well, not that Snow White with those colors and that voice.
And the voice.
Yeah. So, and another bit of context, as soon as this is over, as soon as it goes to commercial break, finally, after 11 minutes, the very first thing it cuts to is a Chevy Lumina commercial, which is a cross-promotion with the about-to-open Disney MGM Studios theme park, in which there's Chevy Luminas are pulling up outside the Chinese theater, and Disney characters are coming out, including the dwarfs. So, to a viewer, they're like, oh, Disney did that. If I'm seeing a Disney commercial right now, surely Disney was part of it. So it's in the press within 24 hours. We're suing the Academy. They have to issue. They ended up settling it. They didn't go to court or anything. They just apologized profusely. Frank Wells called the producer immediately. So this guy, he's on the phone with a bit like, hey, how you doing, Frank? He thinks he's calling to congratulate. Like, not so good. Disney's not happy. So immediate lawsuit right out the door. Then guy hangs up the phone, then gets another, all right, did you hear about the letter? No, what's the letter? There's a letter going out that's going to be in all the trades from a group of esteemed actors criticizing the performance. Does anyone know?
I don't know this.
Okay. This is a letter. The 61st Academy Awards was an embarrassment to both the Academy and the entire motion picture industry. It is neither fitting nor acceptable that the best work in motion pictures be acknowledged in such a demeaning fashion. And this letter is signed by, among other people, Julie Andrews, William Friedkin, Stanley Donen, Blake Edwards, Billy Wilder, Paul Newman, and the main person who pulled this together, Gregory Peck.
Wow.
Gregory Peck made a point of, we have work to do.
Whoa.
I've written a letter. This cannot stand.
Wait, so
an animated mama. An animated mama. Bill
Friedkin here saying that's not how you open an Oscar ceremony. Wait, this is independent of the Disney lawsuit, though.
Yeah, separate. It all happens with it, like, in one afternoon. Everything unravels for this entire production team.
I mean, I feel like Mary Poppins is telling you suck. That hurts. That really hurts.
was not practically perfect in every way.
The stress of this killed Lucille Ball.
Just watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe she hadn't maybe she hadn't watched the opening really. She saw a quick second of it, found out later, I complimented that boy.
Gary,
I was wrong.
Gary taped it.
I was so nice
Gary
to the boy.
showed me the tape, and I thought it was dreadful. And I decided to pass away.
Gary, I'm going to die. Handle my affairs, boy.
Oh, Gary, you good for nothing.
As for Alan Carr, he went into a restaurant the next day expecting to get a standing ovation, and instead no one would look at him. He never produced a film or a television show again. And the Oscars producer Gil Cates many years later said, if he had just made that number shorter, I think he would still be alive today.
Oh my gosh!
Instead,
I mean, he's right. He's probably
so.
right.
The joke I made about Lucy is true. About
I think so.
Wow.
Yes, there's a body count.
So he had to go. He
number.
basically went into exile.
Yeah. Yeah, he was like embarrassed and ashamed. There's a whole documentary about him. It was apparently a huge deal when he thought, I want to re-release Grease and get all the love about Grease again. And it probably helped start the fire, which now like Grease is eternally popular. And it was like a meaningful thing for him. So he got like a little bit of like glory at the end, but he didn't do anything new.
But
he was Mr. Hollywood. And
before that, Billy Wilder somehow created a new Norma Desmond. He just wouldn't leave his house.
I'm doing it for real this time. Yeah, this might be the most cursed. And now I'm worried that something bad's going to happen to us because we talked about it.
Oh no.
I think we're fine.
I mean, I think it's over. It's also overstated. I mean, like, it's not. I think in context, it's not. It is bad. It truly is terrible. But like, Dom DeLuise and like,
yeah, come on.
I mean, that's 2 years before. Like, what are we?
Imagine that was 12 minutes.
Maybe that's the issue. It was quicker.
I think that is what it is, because it's like we have seen performance. I think that's the lesson to take away. There are performances of comparable shittiness, but it's really just what are you asking people to endure?
Sure.
Yeah.
I would have still partied at Alan Carr's house after this.
I'd go to that underground disco.
Yeah. Who cares?
Because you said that about Brett Ratner's house, that he had a disco in his house, and that is from Alan Carr. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all want that in a mansion of ours one day.
I guess. It's a little flying too close to the sun kind of story. And this is
maybe something else neat in your house. Maybe a disco floor.
Fine.
Boy. Well, the you have a brighter spot.
It turned. Well, obviously there are no hard feelings in the long run between the Walt Disney Company and the Academy, because it's aired on ABC for a long time, which the Disney Company has owned for a long time. And I was looking up because for a while I couldn't find if they were doing it this year. They would show the Oscar broadcast on the Main Street Opera House. They would show in the Main Street Opera House on Main Street in Disneyland.
Yes.
This year, what I saw, they have this every year, a big step and repeat and giant Oscar statue at the Grand Californian Hotel that you can take a picture with, and a milkshake with a bow tie on it. You can buy in California Adventure. But something actually of merit at the Carthay Circle restaurant, on loan from the Walt Disney Family Museum in San Francisco, they have the Snow White Oscar with the little Oscars.
With the 7 little Oscars.
With the 7 little Oscars. So you can go see that right now in the restaurant that is a replica of the theater that Snow White premiered in.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's nice. But I don't know. That's not my Snow White. My Snow White is a petrified, inexperienced actress who's chased out of the business, put on a gag order to where she can't talk about this for 13 years. True fact also.
Really? 13 years?
Yeah, I think so. Now she's spoken about it. But to me, Snow White has to be couched in tragedy. I mean, I don't know where else to go from here. We've fully explored the depths of. Will the ceremony this year have anything as memorable as this.
Well, and will Michael Eisner step in somehow? Because this is back to back. We just on a Patreon episode discovered that Michael Eisner put an end to a regional Los Angeles kids show called King Koopa's Cool Cartoons.
What? This recently?
No, in the early 90s. He wrote a letter to. This is again according we talk about it on the Patreon, but according to this Wikipedia, one of the writers on the show said he wrote a letter to Barry Diller and got this show canceled. So we're learning, just like obviously we knew he was powerful, but this man wielded so much power. And will he step in this year? Is really what my question is.
Well, he's expending all of his power this year, making sure those pesky crank yankers don't show up and cause mischief.
Oh, I'll bet you. I mean, I'm just glad he left Aladdin's Winter Wish alone. That's because Ben Vereen didn't know what he was. In that production.
Oh my God, Ben Vereen was in it. It's so fun.
I think he was like, "Hey, everybody, Disney." Like he didn't know, Like
so the whole go back to Aladdin's Winter Wish.
Oh yeah, this is the time to do that.
There were elements of it that were clearly just ripping the Disney version off.
Yeah.
It wasn't totally Disney because Bruce Vilanch played the widow Twanky, which is a character that does not appear in the Disney Aladdin. But Ben Vereen was the genie. And he made a joke about the Lion King, and he referenced the character Mufafa from Lion King. And I don't think he knew the character, but obviously somebody like threw this name at him, and he just did his best. And honestly, that was the most fun to see. It was great seeing Richard Karn as the Sultan, but Ben Vereen as the genie. Truly, I was very excited to see him.
Of riches.
This is Alan Carr level casting. I mean, if Carr could have cast,
well, you got to go to the stage
Ben
to get
Vereen,
Carr level quality now.
Ben Vereen was on a show called Zoobly Zoo when I was a kid. I was as Mayor Ben, and he had like a animal nose, and it's terrifying. But I was a big fan from back then. So but we should just actually honestly just remember it as the day that Peter O'Toole died.
Yeah, that's maybe a moment of silence, and we'll
end this on a downer.
Okay, and Ryan Perez, you survived Podcast The Ride. Well, you got it. It's an Oscars episode. You got to have an in memoriam.
That's right.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, but now 30 more minutes of show, everyone.
We're still going.
We reached a down point, but now we're coming back for the best actor, best actress.
Well, let me be like Army Archerd and say, hey, what irons do you have in the fire? Let's exit through the gift shop. Mr. Perez, is there anything you'd like to plug?
Oh, boy, Army. There's so much going on. If you want to hear me talk about movies more, go over to Mama Needs a Movie, where me and my co-host Ann Riemann talk about movies, a new movie every week. Scott's been on the show. We got everybody's going to be on the show, It's another podcast to add to. I know your podcast options are many, but consider adding one more movie podcast.
You've had, and some of the stars you have coming up are crazy. Jolie Fisher.
We got Jolie Fisher.
Corey Feldman.
We got Chad
Underwood.
Ricky Lake. They're all going to be on. We got Tyrone Power Jr.
Oh, geez. So I was going to say, I was maybe not going to listen until you threw that one. I was waiting for Tyrone Power Jr.
Yeah, he's got many exciting
I heard
projects.
Gary Morton is going to be on.
Oh, this is a first. Jordan pulled up the logo.
There we go.
Hey,
Hey,
that's
that's
the
nice.
show.
Yeah,
Mama
there we go.
Needs a Movie. And I don't know in what order these things are coming out, but I'm either going to be on it soon or have just been on it. And I'm talking about Mommy Dearest.
That's right.
Oh, wow.
A movie I've never seen.
What should we do? Should we put that up before the Oscars or after the Oscars? Maybe before the Oscars.
Well, people are going to be thinking about Faye because of her involvement in what you. Well, maybe, and again, we all remember she got out of there fast. She actually read the name and then was never seen again, as opposed to Warren Beatty.
That's true.
Relevant. Maybe she might have really been the.
She read the name though. That's like she. So I don't know. My conspiracy theory I think still stands that that maybe they were in on it, maybe not. Whatever.
Well, what you were saying was that the trickster Kimmel was maybe it, but think about who's presenting it. Like the ultimate criminals, Bonnie and Clyde.
Bonnie and Clyde. See, the writing is there. It's all on. It's all there. You just have to look at it.
One last heist.
That might have just been an Oscars producer who's been doing it so long, was still mad that the movie started going, when they nominated Bonnie and Clyde, that's when it took a turn. No nice movies for the nice people, you know?
These. Well, yeah, we'll check me out on there whenever and other episodes. You're great, and it's great, and so happy to have you for this, Ryan.
Thank you so much for having me. You guys, I haven't been on the show since I was in. I would think I was in the first 10 episodes.
Yeah,
That's
right.
Guys did. At the time, I did Knott's Berry Farm, and I legitimately thought you guys were going to do like one park per show. That's what I thought. I thought maybe you'll do like a few more because you'll do the lands. Each land will get an episode. I never would have thought you guys. Not only have you guys done a great show, you've done it now for it's such an enduring show, and I never thought you would get as granular and as entertaining as this.
No,
show.
this isn't either.
It's been a great joy to watch and listen to this show. There's multiple episodes about knights in white satin. that level of thing. I never would have thought you guys could do it, but it's great.
Thank you.
You harken back to another time, like that Knott's Berry Farm would only get one episode. Now we'd be like an episode for each pie. Each pie
you would not,
available.
You would not. That snuck in early.
Each jam.
You did not get away. You got away with something.
We didn't know our pace as has become a catchphrase from the Cars ride. Slow down. You ain't racing yet. We're going as slow as we can, as we will next week with more infinitesimal topics. Thanks to Jordan Katz for producing this episode. You can watch this on the Forever Dog YouTube channel. You can find us on all the socials at Podcast The Ride. And for 3 bonus episodes every month, check out Podcast The Ride, The Second Gate, or get one more bonus episode on our new tier, Club 3. What you were saying, we have multiple tiers of this stuff even. And you find all of that at patreon.com/podcast the ride. And it was so great to have you. And I'm, having you back after so long, talking about all this great stuff, I feel really high. This feels like a high moment for me. But keep in mind that when it's your highest moment, that's when the devil comes.
You gotta
for
watch it out. You gotta watch for him.
I think I see something.
Oh no, I think I see something.
Oh no,
It's Brett Ratner.
Maybe it's just Dom DeLuise.
Forever Dog.
This has been a Forever Dog production. Executive produced by Mike Carlson, Jason Sheridan, Scott Gardner, Brett Boehm, Joe Cilio, and Alex Ramsey. For more original podcasts, please visit foreverdogpodcasts.com and subscribe to our shows on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Keep up with the latest Forever Dog news by following us on Twitter and Instagram @ForeverDogTeam and liking our page on Facebook.